These are the words which Moses spoke to all Israel on this side of the Jordan, in the desert. Toward the west near the Red Sea, between Paran, Tophel, Loban, and Aulon, and the gold works. It is a journey of 11 days from Horeb to Mount Seir as far as Kadesh Barnea. And it came to pass in the 40th year, in the 11th month, on the first day of the month. Moses spoke to all the children of Israel, according to all things which the Lord commanded him. For them, after he had smitten Sihon, king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Heshbon, and Og the king of Bashan, who dwelt in Astaroth and in Edrei, beyond the Jordan in the land of Moab. Moses began to declare this law, saying, The Lord your God spoke to us in Horeb, saying, Let it suffice you to have dwelt so long in this mountain. Turn and depart, and go to the mountain of the Amorites, and to all that dwell near. About the Arabah, to the mountain and the plain, and to the south, and the land of the Canaanites. Near the sea, and Anti-Libanus, as far as the great river, the river Euphrates. Behold, God has delivered the land before you. Go in and inherit the land which I swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give it to them and to their seed after them. And I spoke to you at that time, saying, I shall not be able by myself to bear you. The Lord your God has multiplied you, and behold, you are today as the stars of heaven from multitude. The Lord God of your fathers add to you 1,000-fold more than you are, and bless you as he has spoken to you. How shall I alone be able to bear your labor, your burden, and your gainsaying? Take to yourselves wise, understanding, and prudent men for your tribes, and I will set your leaders over you. And you answered me and said, The thing which you have told us is good to do. So I took of you wise, understanding, and prudent men, and I set them to rule over you as rulers of thousands, rulers of hundreds, rulers of 50s, rulers of 10s, and officers to your judges. And I charged your judges at that time, saying, Hear causes between your brethren, and judge rightly between a man and his brother, and the stranger who is with him. Ye shall not have respect of persons in judgment. Ye shall judge the small and the great alike. Ye shall not shrink from before the person of a man, for the judgment is God's. And whatsoever matter shall be too hard for you, ye shall bring it to me, and I will hear it. And I charged upon you at that time all the commands which ye shall perform. We departed from Horeb, and went through all that great and terrible wilderness which ye saw, by the way of the mountain of the Amorite, as the Lord our God charged us, and we came as far as Kadesh Barnea. And I said to you, You have come as far as the mountain of the Amorite, which the Lord our God gives to you. Behold, the Lord your God has delivered the land before you. Go up and inherit it, as the Lord God of your fathers said to you. Fear not, neither be afraid. And you all came to me and said, Let us send men before us, and let them go up to the land for us, and let them bring back to us a report of the way by which we shall go up, and of the cities into which we shall enter. And the saying pleased me, and I took of you 12 men, 1 man of each tribe. And they turned and went up to the mountain, and they came as far as the valley of Eshcol, and surveyed it. And they took in their hands of the fruit of the land and brought it to you, and said, The land is good which the Lord our God gives us. Yet you would not go up, but rebelled against the words of the Lord your God. And you murmured in your tents, saying, Because the Lord hated us, he has brought us out of the land of Egypt to deliver us into the hands of the Amorites to destroy us. Whither shall we go up? And your brethren drew away your heart, saying, It is a great nation, and populous, and mightier than we. There are cities great and walled up to heaven. Moreover, we saw there the sons of the giants. And I said to you, Fear not, neither be afraid of them. The Lord your God who goes before your face shall fight for you, as he did in the land of Egypt and in this wilderness which you have seen. How the Lord your God has borne you, as a man bears his son, through all the way which you have gone until you came to this place. But in this matter you did not believe the Lord your God, who goes before you to choose you a place, guiding you in fire by night and showing you the way by which ye should go, and a cloud by day. And the Lord heard the voice of your words, and was greatly provoked, and swore, saying, Not one of these men shall see this good land which I swore to their fathers, except Caleb the son of Jephunneh. He shall see it, and to him I will give the land on which he went up, because he attended to the things of the Lord. And the Lord was angry with me for your sake, saying, Neither shall you by any means enter therein. But Joshua the son of Nun, who stands by you, shall enter it. Ye shall strengthen him, for he shall cause Israel to inherit it. And every young child who this day knows not good or evil, they shall enter therein, and to them I will give it, and they shall inherit it. And ye turned and marched into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea. And you answered and said, We have sinned before the Lord our God, we will go up and fight, according to all that the Lord our God has commanded us. Having taken every one his weapons of war, and being gathered together, ye went up to the mountain. And the Lord said to me, Tell them, Ye shall not go up, neither shall you fight, for I am not with you. Thus ye shall not be destroyed before your enemies. And I spoke to you, but ye did not listen, and ye transgressed the commandment of the Lord. And ye forced your way, and went up into the mountain. And the Amorite who dwelt in that mountain came out to meet you, and pursued you as bees do, and wounded you from Seir to Hormah. And ye sat down and wept before the Lord your God, but the Lord did not listen to your voice, nor pay attention to you. And ye dwelt in Kadesh many days as ye dwelt there. We turned and departed into the wilderness by the way of the Red Sea, as the Lord spoke to me. And we compassed Mount Seir many days. And the Lord said to me, You have compassed this mountain long enough, turn toward the north. Charge the people, saying, You are going through the borders of your brethren the children of Esau, who dwell in Seir. They shall fear you and dread you greatly. Do not engage in war against them, for I will not give you of their land, even enough to set your foot upon, for I have given Mount Seir to the children of Esau as an inheritance. Buy food of them for money and eat, and buy water of them for money and drink. For the Lord your God has blessed you in all the work of your hands. Consider how you went through that great and terrible wilderness. Behold, the Lord your God has been with you 40 years, and you lacked nothing. We passed by our brethren the children of Esau, who dwell in Seir, by the way of the Arabah, from Elath and from Ezion-Geber, and we turned and passed by the way of the wilderness of Moab. And the Lord said to me, Do not quarrel with the Moabites, and do not engage in war with them. For I will not give you of their land for an inheritance, for I have given Ar to the children of Lot to inherit. Formerly the Emim dwelt there, a great and numerous nation, powerful like the Anakim. These also shall be accounted Rephaim, like the Anakim, and the Moabites call them Emim. And the Horites dwelt in Seir before, and the children of Esau destroyed them, and utterly consumed them from before them, and they dwelt in their place as Israel did to the land of his inheritance, which the Lord gave to them. Now then arise and depart, and cross the valley of Zered. The days we traveled from Kadesh Barnea till we crossed the valley of Zered were 38 years, until the whole generation of the men of war failed, dying out of the camp, as the Lord God swore to them. The hand of the Lord was upon them to destroy them out of the midst of the camp until they were consumed. When all the men of war had fallen, the Lord spoke to me, saying, Ye shall pass over this day the borders of Moab to Ar, and ye shall draw near to the children of Ammon. Do not quarrel with them nor wage war with them, for I will not give you of the land of the children of Ammon for an inheritance, because I have given it to the children of Lot. It shall be accounted a land of Rephaim, for the Rephaim dwelt there before. The children of Ammon call them Zemzumim. A great and populous nation, mightier than you, as also the Anakim. Yet the Lord destroyed them from before them, and they inherited their land and dwelt there until this day. As they did to the children of Esau that dwell in Seir, destroying the Horites from before them, and inheriting their country and dwelling there until this day. The Avites who dwell in Ashdod to Gaza, and the Caphtorim who came out of Caphtor, destroyed them and dwelt in their place. Now arise and depart, and pass over the valley of the Arnon. Behold, I have delivered into your hands Sihon king of Heshbon the Amorite and his land. Begin to inherit it and engage in war with him this day. Begin to put your terror and fear on the face of all the nations under heaven, who shall be troubled when they hear your name and be in anguish before you. I sent ambassadors from the wilderness of Kedemoth to Sihon king of Heshbon with peaceful words, saying, I will pass through your land. I will go by the road, I will not turn aside to the right hand or to the left. Ye shall give me food for money, and I will eat, and water for money, and I will drink. I will only go through on my feet as the children of Esau did to me who dwelt in Seir, and the Moabites who dwelt in Ar, until I shall have passed the Jordan into the land which the Lord our God gives us. But Sihon king of Heshbon would not let us pass by him, because the Lord our God hardened his spirit and made his heart stubborn, that he might be delivered into your hands as on this day. And the Lord said to me, Behold, I have begun to deliver before you Sihon king of Heshbon the Amorite and his land. Do you begin to inherit his land? And Sihon came out to meet us with all his people to war at Jahaz. And we turned and went by the way leading to Bazan, and Og the king of Bazan came out to meet us, he and all his people, to battle at Edraim. And the Lord said to me, Fear him not, for I have delivered him, and all his people, and all his land, into thy hands, and thou shalt do to him as thou didst to Sihon king of the Amorites who dwelt in Esabon. And the Lord our God delivered him into our hands, even Og the king of Bazan, and all his people, and we smote him until we left none of his seed. And we mastered all his cities at that time, there was not a city which we took not from them, 60 cities, all the country round about Argob, belonging to King Og in Bazan, all strong cities, lofty walls, gates and bars, besides the very many cities of the Pharizzites. We utterly destroyed them as we dealt with Sihon the king of Esabon, so we utterly destroyed every city in order, and the women and the children, and all the cattle, and we took for a prey to ourselves the spoil of the cities. And we took at that time the land out of the hands of the 2 kings of the Amorites, who were beyond Jordan, extending from the brook of Arnon even unto Ermon. The Phoenicians call Ermon Sanir, but the Amorite has called it Sanir. All the cities of Misr, and all Galad, and all Bazan as far as Elka and Edraim, cities of the kingdom of Og in Bazan. For only Og the king of Bazan was left of the Raphaim. Behold, his bed was a bed of iron. Behold, it is in the chief city of the children of Ammon. The length of it is 9 cubits, and the breadth of it 4 cubits, according to the cubit of a man. And we inherited that land at that time from Aroer, which is by the border of the torrent Arnon, and half the mount of Galad, and I gave his cities to Reuben and to Gad. And the rest of Galad, and all Bazan the kingdom of Og I gave to the half-tribe of Manasseh, and all the country round about Argob, all that Bazan, it shall be accounted the land of Raphaim. And Jair the son of Manasseh took all the country round about Argob as far as the borders of Gargasi. And Machati, he called them by his name Bazan Favath Jair until this day. And to Machir I gave Galad. And to Reuben and to Gad I gave the land under Galad as far as the brook of Arnon, the border between the brook, and as far as Jabbok. The brook is the border to the children of Ammon. And Arabah and Jordan are the boundary of Machanath, even to the sea of Arabah, the salt sea, under Asadoth Phasca eastward. And I charged you at that time, saying, The Lord your God has given you this land by lot. Arm yourselves, every one that is powerful, and go before your brethren the children of Israel. Only your wives and your children and your cattle, I know that ye have much cattle, let them dwell in your cities which I have given you, until the Lord your God give your brethren rest, as also he has given to you, and they also shall inherit the land, which the Lord our God gives them on the other side of Jordan. Then ye shall return, each one to his inheritance which I have given you. And I commanded Joshua at that time, saying, Your eyes have seen all things, which the Lord our God did to these two kings, so shall the Lord our God do to all the kingdoms against which thou crossest over thither. Ye shall not be afraid of them, because the Lord our God himself shall fight for you. And I besought the Lord at that time, saying, Lord God, thou hast begun to shew to thy servant thy strength, and thy power, and thy mighty hand, and thy high arm, for what God is therein? Heaven or on the earth, who will do as thou hast done, and according to thy might? I will. Therefore go over and see this good land that is beyond Jordan, this good mountain and to Libanus. And the Lord, because of you, did not regard me, and hearken not to me. And the Lord said to me, Let it suffice thee, speak not of this matter to me any more. Go up to the top of the quarried rock, and look with thine eyes westward, and northward, and southward, and eastward, and behold it with thine eyes, for thou shalt not go over this Jordan. And charge Joshua, and strengthen him, and encourage him, for he shall go before the face of this people, and he shall give them the inheritance of all the land which thou hast seen. And we abode in the valley near the house of Fagar. And now, Israel, hear the ordinances and judgments, all that I teach you this day to do, that ye may live and be multiplied, and that ye may go in and inherit the land, which the Lord God of your fathers gives you. Ye shall not add to the word which I command you, and ye shall not take from it. Keep the commandments of the Lord our God, all that I command you this day. Your eyes have seen all that the Lord our God did in the case of Beelphegor, for every man that went after Beelphegor, the Lord your God has utterly destroyed him from among you. But ye that kept close to the Lord your God are all alive today. Behold, I have shown you ordinances and judgments as the Lord commanded me, that ye should do so in the land into which ye go to inherit it. And ye shall keep and do them, for this is your wisdom and understanding before all nations, as many as shall hear all these ordinances, and they shall say, Behold, this great nation is a wise and understanding people. For what manner of nation is so great, which has God so near to them as the Lord our God is in all things in whatsoever we may call upon him? And what manner of nation is so great, which has righteous ordinances and judgments according to all this law, which I set before you this day? Take heed to thyself, and keep thy heart diligently. Forget not any of the things which thine eyes have seen, and let them not depart from thine heart all the days of thy life, and thou shalt teach thy sons and thy sons' sons, even the things that happened in the day in which ye stood before the Lord our God in Choreb in the day of the assembly. For the Lord said to me, Gather the people to me, and let them hear my words, that they may learn to fear me all the days which they live upon the earth, and they shall teach their sons. And ye drew nigh and stood under the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire up to heaven. There was darkness, blackness, and tempest. And the Lord spoke to you out of the midst of the fire a voice of words, which ye heard, and ye saw no likeness, only ye heard a voice. And he announced to you his covenant, which he commanded you to keep, even the 10 commandments, and he wrote them on 2 tables of stone. And the Lord commanded me at that time to teach you ordinances and judgments, that ye should do them on the land, into which ye go to inherit it. And take good heed to your hearts, for ye saw no similitude in the day in which the Lord spoke to you in Choreb in the mountain out of the midst of the fire, lest ye transgress, and make to yourselves a carved image, any kind of figure, the likeness of male or female, the likeness of any beast of those that are on the earth, the likeness of any winged bird which flies under heaven, the likeness of any reptile which creeps on the earth, the likeness of any fish of those which are in the waters under the earth, and lest having looked up to the sky, and having seen the sun and the moon and the stars, and all the heavenly bodies, thou shouldest go astray and worship them, and serve them, which the Lord thy God has distributed to all the nations under heaven. But God took you, and led you forth out of the land of Egypt, out of the iron furnace, out of Egypt, to be to him a people of inheritance, as at this day. And the Lord God was angry with me for the things said by you, and sware that I should not go over this Jordan, and that I should not enter into the land, which the Lord thy God giveth thee for an inheritance. For I am to die in this land, and shall not pass over this Jordan, but ye are to pass over, and shall inherit this good land. Take heed to yourselves, lest ye forget the covenant of the Lord our God, which he made with you, and ye transgress, and make to yourselves a graven image of any of the things concerning which the Lord thy God commanded thee. For the Lord thy God is a consuming fire, a jealous God. And when thou shalt have begotten sons, and shalt have sons' sons, and ye shall have dwelt a long time on the land, and shall have transgressed, and made a graven image of any thing, and shall have done wickedly before the Lord your God to provoke him, I call heaven and earth this day to witness against you, that ye shall surely perish from off the land, into which ye go across Jordan to inherit it there. Ye shall not prolong your days upon it, but shall be utterly cut off. And the Lord shall scatter you among all nations, and ye shall be left few in number among all the nations, among which the Lord shall bring you. And ye shall there serve other gods, the works of the hands of men, wood and stones, which cannot see, nor can they hear, nor eat, nor smell. And there ye shall seek the Lord your God, and ye shall find him whenever ye shall seek him with all your heart, and with all your soul in your affliction. And all these things shall come upon thee in the last days, and thou shalt turn to the Lord thy God, and shalt hearken to his voice. Because the Lord thy God is a God of pity, he will not forsake thee, nor destroy thee, he will not forget the covenant of thy fathers, which the Lord sware to them. Ask of the former days which were before thee, from the day when God created man upon the earth, and beginning at the one end of heaven to the other end of heaven, if there has happened anything like to this great event, if such a thing has been heard, if a nation have heard the voice of the living God speaking out of the midst of the fire, as thou hast heard and hast lived, if God has essayed to go and take to himself a nation out of the midst of another nation with trial, and with signs, and with wonders, and with war, and with a mighty hand, and with a high arm, and with great sights, according to all the things which the Lord our God did in Egypt in thy sight. So that thou shouldest know that the Lord thy God he is God, and there is none beside him. His voice was made audible from heaven to instruct thee, and he shewed thee upon the earth his great fire. And thou heardest his words out of the midst of the fire. Because he loved thy fathers, he also chose you their seed after them, and he brought thee himself with his great strength out of Egypt, to destroy nations great and stronger than thou before thy face, to bring thee in, to give thee their land to inherit, as thou hast it this day. And thou shalt know this day, and shalt consider in thine heart, that the Lord thy God he is God in heaven above, and on the earth beneath, and there is none else but he. And keep ye his commandments, and his ordinances, all that I command you this day, that it may be well with thee, and with thy sons after thee, that ye may be long lived upon the earth, which the Lord thy God giveth thee forever. Then Moses separated 3 cities beyond Jordan on the east, that the slayer might flee thither. Who should have slain his neighbor unintentionally, and should not have hated him in times past. And he shall flee to one of these cities and live, Bozrah in the wilderness, in the plain country of Reuben, and Ramoth in Galaad belonging to Gad, and Golan and Bazan belonging to Manasseh. This is the law which Moses set before the children of Israel. These are the testimonies, and the ordinances, and the judgments which Moses spoke to the sons of Israel when they came out of the land of Egypt, on the other side of Jordan, in the valley near the house of Phagor, in the land of Sihon king of the Amorites, who dwelt in Esarban, whom Moses and the sons of Israel smote, when they came out of the land of Egypt. And they inherited his land, and the land of Og king of Bazan, 2 kings of the Amorites, who were beyond Jordan eastward, from Aroer, which is on the border of the brook Arnon, even to the mount of Sihon, which is Hermon, all Arabah beyond Jordan eastward under Asadoth hewn in the rock. And Moses called all Israel and said to them, Hear, Israel, the ordinances and judgments, all that I speak in your ears this day, and ye shall learn them and observe to do them. The Lord your God made a covenant with you in Horeb. The Lord did not make this covenant with your fathers, but with you, who are all alive this day. The Lord spoke to you face to face at the mountain out of the midst of the fire. And I stood between the Lord and you at that time to report to you the words of the Lord, because you were afraid before the fire and did not go up the mountain, saying, I am the Lord your God, who brought you out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Ye shall have no other gods before my face. Ye shall not make for yourself an image or likeness of anything in heaven above, or on the earth beneath, or in the waters under the earth. Ye shall not bow down to them or serve them, for I am the Lord your God, a jealous God, visiting the sins of the fathers upon the children to the 3rd and 4th generation of those who hate me, and showing mercy to thousands who love me and keep my commandments. Ye shall not take the name of the Lord your God in vain, for the Lord will not acquit anyone who takes his name in vain. Keep the Sabbath day to sanctify it, as the Lord your God commanded. 6 days ye shall work, and do all your work, but the 7th day is the Sabbath of the Lord your God. Ye shall do no work, neither you, your son, your daughter, your manservant, your maidservant, your ox, your donkey, nor any of your cattle, nor the stranger who sojourns among you, so that your servants and your livestock may rest, as well as you. Remember that you were a slave in the land of Egypt, and the Lord your God brought you out with a mighty hand and an outstretched arm. Therefore, the Lord commanded you to keep the Sabbath day and to sanctify it. Honor your father and your mother, as the Lord your God commanded, so that it may be well with you and that ye may live long on the land the Lord your God is giving you. Ye shall not murder. Ye shall not commit adultery. Ye shall not steal. Ye shall not bear false witness against your neighbor. Ye shall not covet your neighbor's wife, house, field, manservant, maidservant, ox, donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. These words the Lord spoke to the whole assembly of you at the mountain out of the midst of the fire. There was darkness, blackness, storm, and a loud voice, and he added no more. He wrote them on 2 tablets of stone and gave them to me. When you heard the voice out of the midst of the fire, for the mountain burned with fire, you came to me, all the heads of your tribes and your elders, and said, Behold, the Lord our God has shown us his glory, and we have heard his voice from the midst of the fire. This day we have seen that God speaks to man, and he lives. Now let us not die, for this great fire will consume us. If we hear the voice of the Lord our God any more, we shall die. What flesh has heard the voice of the living God speaking out of the midst of the fire, as we have heard and lived? Draw near, and hear all that the Lord our God shall say, and ye shall speak to us all that the Lord our God speaks to you, and we will hear and do it. The Lord heard the voice of your words as you spoke to me, and the Lord said to me, I have heard the voice of the words of this people, all that they have said to you. They have spoken well. Oh, that there were such a heart in them that they should fear me and keep my commands always, that it might be well with them and their children forever. Go, say to them, return to your tents, but stand here with me, and I will tell you all the commands, ordinances, and judgments which ye shall teach them, and they shall do them in the land which I give them as an inheritance. Take heed to do as the Lord your God commanded you. Do not turn aside to the right or to the left, according to all the way the Lord your God commanded you to walk in it, so that you may have rest and it may be well with you, and you may prolong your days on the land which you shall possess. These are the commands, ordinances, and judgments which the Lord our God commanded me to teach you to do in the land where you are entering to possess it, so that you may fear the Lord your God, keep all his ordinances and commandments, which I command you today, you and your children and your children's children, all the days of your life, so that your days may be prolonged. Hear, therefore, O Israel, and be careful to do them, so that it may be well with you and that you may multiply greatly, as the Lord God of your fathers has promised you, a land flowing with milk and honey. These are the ordinances and judgments the Lord commanded the children of Israel in the wilderness when they came out of Egypt. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God is one Lord. Ye shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your strength. These words which I command you today shall be in your heart. Ye shall teach them diligently to your children, and shall talk of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, when you lie down, and when you rise up. Ye shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and they shall be as frontlets between your eyes. You shall write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates. When the Lord your God brings you into the land he swore to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, to give you great and beautiful cities that ye did not build, houses full of all good things that ye did not fill, wells dug that ye did not dig, vineyards and olive trees ye did not plant, beware lest you forget the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Ye shall fear the Lord your God and serve him only, and shall take your oaths in his name. Do not follow other gods, the gods of the peoples around you, for the Lord your God in your midst is a jealous God, lest the Lord be angry with you and destroy you from the face of the earth. Ye shall not tempt the Lord your God as ye tempted him in the wilderness. Ye shall keep the commandments of the Lord your God, the testimonies, and the ordinances he commanded you. Ye shall do what is right and good in the sight of the Lord, so that it may be well with you, and you may go in and possess the good land the Lord swore to your fathers, to drive out your enemies from before you. When your son asks you in the future, what are the testimonies, ordinances, and judgments the Lord our God commanded you, ye shall say to him, We were slaves to Pharaoh in Egypt, and the Lord brought us out with a mighty hand in an outstretched arm. The Lord performed signs and great wonders on Egypt, Pharaoh, and his household before us. He brought us out to give us the land he swore to our fathers. The Lord commanded us to keep all these statutes, to fear the Lord our God for our good forever, so that we may live as we do today. Mercy will be upon us if we are careful to keep all his commandments before the Lord our God, as he commanded us. And when the Lord thy God shall bring thee into the land, into which thou goest to possess it, and shall remove great nations from before thee, the Chetite, and Girgite, and Amorite, and Canaanite, and Pharazite, and Evite, and Jebusite, 7 nations more numerous and stronger than you, and the Lord thy God shall deliver them into thy hands. Then thou shalt smite them, thou shalt utterly destroy them, thou shalt not make a covenant with them, neither shall ye pity them. Neither shall ye contract marriages with them, thou shalt not give thy daughter to his son, and thou shalt not take his daughter to thy son. For he will draw away thy son from me, and he will serve other gods, and the Lord will be very angry with you, and will soon utterly destroy thee. But thus shall ye do to them, ye shall destroy their altars, and shall break down their pillars, and shall cut down their groves, and shall burn with fire the graven images of their gods. For thou art a holy people to the Lord thy God, and the Lord thy God chose thee to be to him a peculiar people beyond all nations that are upon the face of the earth. It was not because ye are more numerous than all other nations that the Lord preferred you, and the Lord made choice of you, for ye are fewer in number than all other nations. But because the Lord loved you, and as keeping the oath which he sware to your fathers, the Lord brought you out with a strong hand, and the Lord redeemed thee from the house of bondage, out of the hand of Pharaoh king of Egypt. Thou shalt know therefore that the Lord thy God, he is God, a faithful God, who keeps covenant and mercy for them that love him, and for those that keep his commandments to 1,000 generations, and who recompenses them that hate him to their face, to destroy them utterly, and will not be slack. With them that hate him, he will recompense them to their face. Thou shalt keep therefore the commands, and the ordinances, and these judgments, which I command thee this day to do. And it shall come to pass when ye shall have heard these ordinances, and shall have kept and done them, that the Lord thy God shall keep for thee the covenant and the mercy, which he sware to your fathers. And he will love thee, and bless thee, and multiply thee, and he will bless the offspring of thy body, and the fruit of thy land, thy corn, and thy wine, and thine oil, the herds of thine oxen, and the flocks of thy sheep, on the land which the Lord sware to thy fathers to give to thee. Thou shalt be blessed beyond all nations. There shall not be among you an impotent or barren one, or among thy cattle. And the Lord thy God shall remove from thee all sickness, and none of the evil diseases of Egypt, which thou hast seen, and all that thou hast known will he lay upon thee, but he will lay them upon all that hate thee. And thou shalt eat all the spoils of the nations which the Lord thy God gives thee, thine eyes shall not spare them, and thou shalt not serve their gods, for this is an offense to thee. But if thou shouldest say in thine heart, this nation is greater than I, how shall I be able to destroy them utterly? Thou shalt not fear them, thou shalt surely remember all that the Lord thy God did to Pharaoh and to all the Egyptians, the great temptations which thine eyes have seen, those signs and great wonders, the strong hand, and the high arm, how the Lord thy God brought thee forth. So the Lord your God will do to all the nations, whom thou fearest in their presence. And the Lord thy God shall send against them the hornets, until they that are left and they that are hidden from thee be utterly destroyed. Thou shalt not be wounded before them, because the Lord thy God in the midst of thee is a great and powerful God. And the Lord thy God shall consume these nations before thee by little and little. Thou shalt not be able to consume them speedily, lest the land become desert, and the wild beasts of the field be multiplied against thee. And the Lord thy God shall deliver them into thy hands, and thou shalt destroy them with a great destruction, until ye shall have utterly destroyed them. And he shall deliver their kings into your hands, and ye shall destroy their name from that place. None shall stand up in opposition before thee, until thou shalt have utterly destroyed them. Ye shall burn with fire the graven images of their gods. Thou shalt not covet their silver, neither shalt thou take to thyself gold from them, lest thou shouldest offend thereby, because it is an abomination to the Lord thy God. And thou shalt not bring in abomination into thine house, so shouldest thou be an accursed thing like it, thou shalt utterly hate it, and altogether abominate it, because it is an accursed thing. Ye shall observe to do all the commands which I charge you today, that ye may live and be multiplied, and enter in and inherit the land, which the Lord your God sware to give to your fathers. And thou shalt remember all the way which the Lord thy God led thee in the wilderness, that he might afflict thee, and try thee, and that the things in thine heart might be made manifest, whether thou wouldest keep his commandments or no. And he afflicted thee and straitened thee with hunger, and fed thee with manna, which thy fathers knew not, that he might teach thee that man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God shall man live. Thy garments grew not old from off thee, thy shoes were not worn from off thee, thy feet were not painfully hardened, lo, these 40 years. And thou shalt know in thine heart, that as if any man should chasten his son, so the Lord thy God will chasten thee. And thou shalt keep the commands of the Lord thy God, to walk in his ways, and to fear him. For the Lord thy God will bring thee into a good and extensive land, where there are torrents of waters, and fountains of deep places issuing through the plains and through the mountains, a land of wheat and barley, wherein are vines, figs, pomegranates, a land of olive oil and honey, a land on which thou shalt not eat thy bread with poverty, and thou shalt not want anything upon it, a land whose stones are iron, and out of its mountains thou shalt dig brass. And thou shalt eat and be filled, and shalt bless the Lord thy God on the good land, which he has given thee. Take heed to thyself that thou forget not the Lord thy God, so as not to keep his commands, and his judgments, and ordinances, which I command thee this day, lest when thou hast eaten and art full, and hast built goodly houses, and dwelt in them, and thy oxen and thy sheep are multiplied to thee, and thy silver and thy gold are multiplied to thee, and all thy possessions are multiplied to thee, thou shouldest be exalted in heart, and forget the Lord thy God, who brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage, who brought thee through that great and terrible wilderness, where is the biting serpent, and scorpion, and drought, where there was no water, who brought thee a fountain of water out of the flinty rock, who fed thee with manna in the wilderness, which thou knewest not, and thy fathers knew not, that he might afflict thee, and thoroughly try thee, and do thee good in thy latter days. Lest thou shouldest say in thine heart, my strength, and the power of mine hand have wrought for me this great wealth. But thou shalt remember the Lord thy God, that he gives thee strength to get wealth, even that he may establish his covenant, which the Lord sware to thy fathers, as at this day. And it shall come to pass, if thou do at all forget the Lord thy God, and shouldest go after other gods, and serve them, and worship them, I call heaven and earth to witness against you this day, that ye shall surely perish, as also the other nations which the Lord God destroys before your face, so shall ye perish, because ye hearken not to the voice of the Lord your God. Hear, O Israel, thou goest this day across Jordan to inherit nations greater and stronger than yourselves, cities great and walled up to heaven, a people great and many and tall, the sons of Anak, whom thou knowest, and concerning whom thou hast heard say, who can stand before the children of Anak. And thou shalt know today, that the Lord thy God he shall go before thy face. He is a consuming fire, he shall destroy them, and he shall turn them back before thee, and shall destroy them quickly, as the Lord said to thee. Speak not in thine heart, when the Lord thy God has destroyed these nations before thy face, saying, for my righteousness the Lord brought me in to inherit this good land. Not for thy righteousness, nor for the holiness of thy heart, dost thou go in to inherit their land, but because of the wickedness of these nations the Lord will destroy them from before thee, and that he may establish the covenant, which the Lord sware to our fathers, to Abram, and to Isaac, and to Jacob. And thou shalt know today, that it is not for thy righteousness as the Lord thy God gives thee this good land to inherit, for thou art a stiff-necked people. Remember, forget not, how much thou provokest the Lord thy God in the wilderness, from the day that ye came forth out of Egypt, even till ye came into this place, ye continued to be disobedient toward the Lord. Also in Choreb ye provoked the Lord, and the Lord was angry with you to destroy you, when I went up into the mountain to receive the tables of stone, the tables of the covenant, which the Lord made with you, and I was in the mountain 40 days and 40 nights, I ate no bread and drank no water. And the Lord gave me the 2 tables of stone written with the finger of God, and on them there have been written all the words which the Lord spoke to you in the mountain in the day of the assembly. And it came to pass after 40 days and 40 nights, the Lord gave me the 2 tables of stone, the tables of the covenant. And the Lord said to me, Arise, go down quickly from hence, for thy people whom thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt have transgressed. They have gone aside quickly out of the way which I commanded them, and have made themselves a molten image. And the Lord spoke to me, saying, I have spoken to thee once and again, saying, I have seen this people, and, behold, it is a stiff-necked people. And now suffer me utterly to destroy them, and I will blot out their name from under heaven, and will make of thee a nation great and strong, and more numerous than this. And I turned and went down from the mountain, and the mountain burned with fire to heaven, and the 2 tables of the testimonies were in my 2 hands. And when I saw that ye had sinned against the Lord your God, and had made to yourselves a molten image, and had gone astray out of the way, which the Lord commanded you to keep, then I took hold of the 2 tables, and cast them out of my 2 hands, and broke them before you. And I made my petition before the Lord, as also at the first 40 days and 40 nights, I ate no bread and drank no water, on account of all your sins which ye sinned in doing evil before the Lord God to provoke him. And I was greatly terrified because of the wrath and anger, because the Lord was provoked with you utterly to destroy you. Yet the Lord hearkened to me at this time also. And he was angry with Aaron to destroy him utterly, and I prayed for Aaron also at that time. And your sin which he had made, even the calf, I took, and burnt it with fire, and pounded it and ground it down till it became fine, and it became like dust, and I cast the dust into the brook that descended from the mountain. Also in the burning, and in the temptation, and at the graves of lust, ye provoked the Lord. And when the Lord sent you forth from Cade's barn, saying, Go up and inherit the land which I give to you, then ye disobeyed the word of the Lord your God, and believed him not, and hearkened not to his voice. Ye were disobedient in the things relating to the Lord from the day in which he became known to you. And I prayed before the Lord 40 days and 40 nights, the number that I prayed before, for the Lord said that he would utterly destroy you. And I prayed to God, and said, O Lord, King of gods, destroy not thy people and thine inheritance, whom thou didst redeem, whom thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt with thy great power, and with thy strong hand, and with thy high arm. Remember Abram, and Isaac, and Jacob thy servants, to whom thou swarest by thyself. Look not upon the hardness of heart of this people, and their impieties, and their sins, lest the inhabitants of the land whence thou broughtest us out speak, saying, because the Lord could not bring them into the land of which he spoke to them, and because he hated them, has he brought them forth to slay them in the wilderness. And these are thy people and thy portion, whom thou broughtest out of the land of Egypt with thy great strength, and with thy mighty hand, and with thy high arm. At that time the Lord said to me, Hew for thyself 2 stone tables as the first, and come up to me into the mountain, and thou shalt make for thyself an ark of wood. And thou shalt write upon the tables the words which were on the first tables which thou didst break, and thou shalt put them into the ark. So I made an ark of boards of incorruptible wood, and I hewed tables of stone like the first, and I went up to the mountain, and the 2 tables were in my hand. And he wrote upon the tables according to the first writing the 10 commandments, which the Lord spoke to you in the mountain out of the midst of the fire, and the Lord gave them to me. And I turned and came down from the mountain, and I put the tables into the ark which I had made, and there they were, as the Lord commanded me. And the children of Israel departed from Beeroth of the sons of Jachin to Misudai. There Aaron died, and there he was buried, and Eleazar his son was priest in his stead. Thence they departed to Gadgad, and from Gadgad to Atevitha, a land wherein are torrents of water. At that time the Lord separated the tribe of Levi, to bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, to stand near before the Lord, to minister and bless in his name to this day. Therefore the Levites have no part nor inheritance among their brethren, the Lord himself is their inheritance, as he said to them. And I remained in the mount 40 days and 40 nights, and the Lord heard me at that time also, and the Lord would not destroy you. And the Lord said to me, Go, set out before this people, and let them go in and inherit the land, which I swear to their fathers to give to them. And now, Israel, what does the Lord thy God require of thee, but to fear the Lord thy God, and to walk in all his ways, and to love him, and to serve the Lord thy God with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, to keep the commandments of the Lord thy God, and his ordinances, all that I charge thee today, that it may be well with thee. Behold, the heaven and the heaven of heavens belong to the Lord thy God, the earth and all things that are in it. Only the Lord chose your fathers to love them, and he chose out their seed after them, even you, beyond all nations, as at this day. Therefore ye shall circumcise the hardness of your heart, and ye shall not harden your neck. 4. The Lord your God, he is God of gods, and the Lord of lords, the great, and strong, and terrible God, who does not accept persons, nor will he by any means accept a bribe, executing judgment for the stranger and orphan and widow, and he loves the stranger to give him food and raiment. And ye shall love the stranger, for ye were strangers in the land of Egypt. Thou shalt fear the Lord thy God, and serve him, and shalt cleave to him, and shalt swear by his name. He is thy boast, and he is thy God, who has wrought in the midst of thee these great and glorious things, which thine eyes have seen. With 70 souls your fathers went down into Egypt, but the Lord thy God has made thee as the stars of heaven in multitude. Therefore thou shalt love the Lord thy God, and shalt observe his appointments, and his ordinances, and his commandments, and his judgments, always. And ye shall know this day, for I speak not to your children, who know not and have not seen the discipline of the Lord thy God, and his wonderful works, and his strong hand, and his high arm, and his miracles, and his wonders, which he wrought in the midst of Egypt on Pharaoh king of Egypt, and all his land, and what he did to the host of the Egyptians, and to their chariots, and their cavalry, and their host. How he made the water of the Red Sea to overwhelm the face of them as they pursued after you. And the Lord destroyed them until this day, and all the things which he did to you in the wilderness until ye came into this place, and all the things that he did to Dathan and Abiram, sons of Eliab the son of Reuben, whom the earth opening her mouth swallowed up, and their houses, and their tents, and all their substance that was with them, in the midst of all Israel. 4. Your eyes have seen all the mighty works of the Lord, which he wrought among you today. And ye shall keep all his commandments, as many as I command thee today, that ye may live, and be multiplied, and that ye may go in and inherit the land, into which ye go across Jordan to inherit it, that ye may live long upon the land, which the Lord sware to your fathers to give to them, and to their seed after them, a land flowing with milk and honey. For the land into which thou goest to inherit it is not as the land of Egypt, whence ye came out, whensoever they sow the seed, and water it with their feet, as a garden of herbs, but the land into which thou goest to inherit it is a land of mountains and plains, it shall drink water of the rain of heaven. A land which the Lord thy God surveys continually, the eyes of the Lord thy God are upon it from the beginning of the year to the end of the year. Now if ye will indeed hearken to all the commands which I charge thee this day, to love the Lord thy God, and to serve him with all thy heart, and with all thy soul, then he shall give to thy land the early and latter rain in its season, and thou shalt bring in thy corn, and thy wine, and thine oil. And he shall give food in thy fields to thy cattle, and when thou hast eaten and art full, take heed to thyself that thy heart be not puffed up, and ye transgress, and serve other gods, and worship them, and the Lord be angry with you, and restrain the heaven, and there shall not be rain, and the Birth shall not yield its fruit, and ye shall perish quickly from off the good land, which the Lord has given you. And ye shall store these words in your heart and in your soul, and ye shall bind them as a sign on your hand, and it shall be fixed before your eyes. And ye shall teach them to your children, so as to speak about them when thou sittest in the house, and when thou walkest by the way, and when thou sleepest, and when thou risest up. And ye shall write them on the lintels of your houses, and on your gates, that your days may be long, and the days of your children, upon the land which the Lord sware to your fathers to give to them, as the days of heaven upon the earth. And it shall come to pass that if he will indeed hearken to all these commands, which I charge thee to observe this day, to love the Lord our God, and to walk in all his ways, and to cleave close to him, then the Lord shall cast out all these nations before you, and ye shall inherit great nations and stronger than yourselves. Every place whereon the sole of your foot shall tread shall be yours, from the wilderness and Anti-Libanus, and from the great river, the river Euphrates, even as far as the west sea shall be your coasts. No one shall stand before you, and the Lord your God will put the fear of you and the dread of you on the face of all the land, on which he shall tread, as he told you. Behold, I set before you this day the blessing and the curse, the blessing, if he hearken to the commands of the Lord your God, all that I command you this day, and the curse, if he do not hearken to the commands of the Lord our God, as many as I command you this day, and ye wander from the way which I have commanded you, having gone to serve other gods, which ye know not. And it shall come to pass when the Lord thy God shall have brought thee into the land, into which thou goest over to inherit it, then thou shalt put blessing on Mount Gerizim, and a curse upon Mount Gabel. Lo, are not these beyond Jordan, behind, westward in the land of Shinan, which lies westward near Gulgal, by the high oak? For ye are passing over Jordan, to go in and inherit the land, which the Lord our God gives you to inherit always, and ye shall dwell in it. And ye shall take heed to do all his ordinances, and these judgments, as many as I set before you today. And these are the ordinances and the judgments which ye shall observe to do in the land which the Lord God of your fathers gives you for an inheritance all the days you live upon the land. You shall utterly destroy all the places in which they serve their gods, whose land you inherit, on the high mountains, on the hills, and under every leafy tree. Ye shall destroy their altars, break their pillars, cut down their groves, and burn with fire the graven images of their gods. Ye shall abolish their name out of that place. Ye shall not do so to the Lord your God, but in the place which the Lord your God shall choose, in one of your cities to name his name and be called upon, ye shall seek him out and go there. Ye shall carry your whole burnt offerings, sacrifices, first fruits, vowed offerings, free will offerings, offerings of thanksgiving, the firstborn of your herds and flocks. Ye shall eat there before the Lord your God, and rejoice in all the things on which you lay your hand, you and your household, as the Lord your God has blessed you. Ye shall not do as we do here today, every man doing what is right in his own eyes. For you have not yet reached the rest and inheritance which the Lord our God gives you. Ye shall cross over Jordan and dwell in the land which the Lord your God gives you as an inheritance, and he will give you rest from all your enemies around, and ye shall dwell safely. There shall be a place the Lord your God chooses for his name to be called upon. There ye shall bring all things I command you this day, your whole burnt offerings, sacrifices, tithes, first fruits, and every choice gift, whatsoever you vow to the Lord your God. You shall rejoice before the Lord your God, you and your sons, daughters, servants, maidservants, and the Levite who is at your gates, because he has no portion or inheritance with you. Take heed not to offer your whole burnt offerings in any place ye see, but only in the place the Lord your God chooses in one of your tribes. There you shall offer your whole burnt offerings. And do all I charge you today. You may kill according to your desire and eat flesh according to the blessing the Lord your God has given in every city. The unclean and the clean shall eat it. Alike, like the doe and the stag. Ye shall not eat the blood, ye shall pour it out on the ground as water. Ye shall not eat the tithe of your grain, wine, oil, firstborn of your herds and flocks, vows, thank offerings, and firstfruits in your cities. Instead, ye shall eat them before the Lord your God in the place he chooses, with your family and servants and the stranger within your gates, and rejoice before the Lord your God in all ye do. Take heed not to neglect the Levite while living on the earth. If the Lord enlarges your borders, and ye desire to eat flesh, ye may eat it according to your soul's desire. If the chosen place is far, ye shall kill of your herds and flocks as commanded and eat in your cities as ye desire. The unclean and clean shall eat alike, like the doe and stag. Take diligent heed not to eat blood, for the blood is the life. Ye shall not eat it, but pour it out on the ground, so that it may be well with you and your descendants, if ye do what is good before the Lord your God. Bring your holy things and vowed offerings to the place the Lord chooses. Sacrifice whole burnt offerings and pour out the blood at the altar's foot. Eat the flesh. Hear and do all commands so, that it may be well with you and your descendants forever if ye do what pleases the Lord your God. If the Lord destroys nations before you and you inherit their land, do not follow their ways or worship their gods, for they have committed abominations the Lord hates, such as burning their sons and daughters in fire. Every word I command you today you must observe, do not add or diminish from it. If a prophet or dreamer gives you a sign or wonder and says, let us serve other gods, ye shall not listen. The Lord tests you to see if you love him with all your heart and soul. Follow and fear the Lord your God, hear his voice, and cling to him. The false prophet or dreamer shall die for trying to lead you away from the Lord who brought you out of Egypt. Abolish the evil from among you. If your brother, son, daughter, wife, or friend secretly entices you to serve other gods, do not consent or listen. Ye shall have no pity or protect him, ye must report and put him to death by stoning. All Israel shall hear and fear and not do this evil again. If a city given to you by the Lord turns to evil and worships other gods, investigate thoroughly. If true, ye shall destroy all inhabitants by the sword, curse the city, burn it with its spoils publicly. And it shall remain uninhabited forever. Nothing cursed shall cling to your hand, so the Lord may turn from his anger, show mercy, and multiply you as he swore to your fathers. If you listen to the voice of the Lord and keep his commandments to do what is good and pleasing, it will be well with you. Ye are the children of the Lord your God, ye shall not make any baldness between your eyes for the dead. For thou art a holy people to the Lord thy God, and the Lord thy God has chosen thee to be a peculiar people to himself from all the nations on the face of the earth. Ye shall not eat any abominable thing. These are the beasts which ye shall eat, the calf of the herd, the lamb of the sheep, and the kid of the goats, the stag, the doe, the pygod, the wild goat, and the camelopard. Every beast that divides the hoofs makes claws of 2 divisions, and chews the cud among beasts, these ye shall eat. But these ye shall not eat, those that chew the cud but do not divide the hoof, such as the camel, the hare, and the rabbit, they are unclean to you. Also the swine, because it divides the hoof but does not chew the cud, is unclean to you. Ye shall not eat their flesh or touch their dead bodies. Of all creatures in the water, ye shall eat all that have fins and scales. All that do not have fins and scales shall not be eaten, they are unclean to you. Ye shall eat every clean bird, but these ye shall not eat, the eagle, ossifrage, sea eagle, vulture, kite, sparrow, owl, sea-mew, heron, swan, stork, cormorant, hawk, hoopoe, raven, pelican, diver, red bill, and the bat. All winged animals that creep are unclean to you, ye shall not eat them. Ye shall eat nothing that dies of itself, it shall be given to the stranger in thy cities to eat, or thou shalt sell it to a stranger, for thou art a holy people to the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not boil a lamb in his mother's milk. Thou shalt tithe the tenth of all the produce of thy seed and the fruit of thy field year by year. Thou shalt eat it in the place which the Lord thy God shall choose, where his name shall be called. Ye shall bring the tithe of thy corn, wine, oil, the firstborn of thy herd and flock, that ye may learn to fear the Lord thy God always. If the journey to that place is too far and thou art not able to bring them, because the Lord thy God will bless thee, then thou shalt sell them for money. Take the money in thy hand and go to the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. Thou shalt give the money for whatsoever thy soul desires, oxen, sheep, wine, strong drink, or whatsoever thy soul may desire, and thou shalt eat there before the Lord thy God, and rejoice with thy house, and the Levite that is in thy cities, because he has no portion or inheritance with thee. After 3 years thou shalt bring out all the tithes of thy fruits, and lay them up in thy cities. The Levite, the stranger, the orphan, and the widow who are in thy cities shall come and eat and be filled, so the Lord thy God may bless thee in all thy works. Every 7 years thou shalt make a release. This is the ordinance: thou shalt remit every private debt which thy neighbor owes thee, and shalt not ask payment from thy brother, for it is called a release to the Lord thy God. Of a stranger thou may ask again whatever he owes, but to thy brother thou shalt remit his debt. There shall not be a poor person among thee, for the Lord thy God will bless thee in the land he gives thee by inheritance. If ye hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and keep all these commandments, then thou shalt lend to many nations, but shalt not borrow. Thou shalt rule over many nations, but they shall not rule over thee. If there be a poor man among thy brethren in one of thy cities, thou shalt not harden thine heart or close thine hand from thy needy brother. Thou shalt open thine hand and lend to him according to his need. Beware that there be no secret in thine heart, saying, the 7th year, the year of release, is near, and thine eye be evil to thy brother in need, and refuse to give to him, so he may cry against thee to the Lord, and sin be upon thee. Thou shalt give to him and lend him as much as he needs, and shalt not grudge it, for the Lord thy God will bless thee in all thy works and in all things on which thou layest thine hand. The poor shall not fail from thy land, therefore open thine hand to thy poor brother. If thy brother or sister, a Hebrew man or woman, be sold to thee, he shall serve 6 years. In the 7th year thou shalt send him out free without payment. When thou sendest him out, thou shalt not send him empty-handed, but shalt provide for his way from thy flock, corn, and wine, as the Lord thy God hath blessed thee. Remember that thou wast a servant in Egypt, and the Lord thy God redeemed thee, therefore do this thing. If he says, I will not go out, because I love thee and thy house, then thou shalt take an awl and bore his ear through to the door, he shall be thy servant forever. Similarly shalt thou do to thy maidservant. It shall not seem hard to thee to send them free, for they have served 6 years according to the hire of a hireling, so the Lord thy God shall bless thee in all thou doest. Every firstborn among thy cattle and sheep shalt thou sanctify to the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not work with thy firstborn calf, nor share the firstborn sheep. Thou shalt eat it year by year before the Lord in the place he shall choose, with thy house. If it has a blemish, lame, blind, or evil, thou shalt not sacrifice it to the Lord. Thou shalt eat it in thy cities. The unclean and clean shall eat alike, like the doe and the stag. Only thou shalt not eat the blood, pour it out on the ground as water. Observe the month of new corn and sacrifice the Passover to the Lord thy God, because in that month thou camest out of Egypt by night. Thou shalt sacrifice the Passover in the place the Lord thy God shall choose to have his name called there, sheep and oxen. Thou shalt not eat leaven with it. 7 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread, bread of affliction, because thou camest forth from Egypt in haste. Let this be a remembrance all thy life. Leaven shall not be seen within all thy borders for 7 days, nor shall any flesh of the sacrifice remain until morning. Thou shalt not sacrifice the Passover in any of thy cities, but only in the place the Lord shall choose, at the setting of the sun, the time thou camest out of Egypt. Thou shalt boil, roast, and eat it in that place, then return to thy house in the morning. 6 days shalt thou eat unleavened bread. On the 7th day is a feast to the Lord thy God, and thou shalt do no work except what must be done. 7 weeks shalt thou number from the time thou puttiest the sickle to the corn, and keep the feast of weeks to the Lord thy God. Thou shalt rejoice before the Lord with thy family, servants, Levites, strangers, orphans, and widows, wherever the Lord chooses to place his name. Remember that thou wast a servant in Egypt, and keep these commands. Keep the Feast of Tabernacles 7 days when thou gatherest in thy produce from the threshing floor and winepress. Rejoice with thy family, servants, Levites, strangers, orphans, and widows in thy cities. 7 days shalt thou keep this feast in the place the Lord shall choose. If the Lord blesses thee, thou shalt rejoice. 3 times a year all thy males shall appear before the Lord thy God in the place he chooses, at the feast of unleavened bread, the feast of weeks, and the feast of tabernacles. Thou shalt not appear before the Lord empty-handed. Each shall bring according to his ability and the blessing God has given. Make judges and officers in thy cities, which the Lord thy God gives thee, to judge righteously. They shall not pervert judgment, show favor, or receive bribes, for bribes blind the eyes of the wise and pervert words of the righteous. Pursue justice so ye may live and inherit the land the Lord gives you. Thou shalt not plant for thyself a grove, nor plant any tree near the altar of thy God. Thou shalt not set up a pillar, which the Lord thy God hates. Thou shalt not sacrifice to the Lord thy God a calf or a sheep in which there is a blemish or any evil thing, for it is an abomination to the Lord thy God. And if there should be found in any one of thy cities, which the Lord thy God gives thee, a man or a woman who shall do that which is evil before the Lord thy God, so as to transgress his covenant, and they should go and serve other gods and worship them, the sun, or the moon, or any of the host of heaven, which he commanded thee not to do, and it be told thee, and thou shalt have inquired diligently, and behold, the thing really took place, this abomination has been done in Israel, then shalt thou bring out that man or that woman, and he shall stone them with stones, and they shall die. He shall die on the testimony of 2 or 3 witnesses. A man who is put to death shall not be put to death for 1 witness. And the hand of the witnesses shall be upon him among the first to put him to death, and the hand of the people at the last. So shalt thou remove the evil one from among yourselves. And if a matter shall be too hard for thee in judgment, between blood and blood, and between cause and cause, and between stroke and stroke, and between contradiction and contradiction, matters of judgment in your cities, then thou shalt arise and go up to the place which the Lord thy God shall choose. And thou shalt come to the priests the Levites, and to the judge who shall be in those days, and they shall search out the matter and report the judgment to thee. And thou shalt act according to the thing which they shall report to thee out of the place which the Lord thy God shall choose, and thou shalt observe to do all whatsoever shall have been by law appointed to thee. Thou shalt do according to the law and to the judgment which they shall declare to thee. Thou shalt not swerve to the right hand or to the left from any sentence which they shall report to thee. And the man whosoever shall act in haughtiness, so as not to hearken to the priest who stands to minister in the name of the Lord thy God, or the judge who shall preside in those days, that man shall die, and thou shalt remove the evil one out of Israel. And all the people shall hear and fear, and shall no more commit impiety. And when thou shalt enter into the land which the Lord thy God gives thee, and shalt inherit it, and dwell in it, and shalt say, I will set a ruler over me, as also the other nations round about me, thou shalt surely set over thee the ruler whom the Lord God shall choose, of thy brethren. Thou shalt set over thee a ruler, thou shalt not have power to set over thee a stranger, because he is not thy brother. For he shall not multiply to himself horses, and he shall by no means turn the people back to Egypt, lest he should multiply to himself horses, for the Lord said, Ye shall not any more turn back by that way. And he shall not multiply to himself wives, lest his heart turn away, and he shall not greatly multiply to himself silver and gold. And when he shall be established in his government, then shall he write for himself this repetition of the law into a book by the hands of the priests the Levites, and it shall be with him, and he shall read in it all the days of his life, that he may learn to fear the Lord thy God, and to keep all these commandments, and to observe these ordinances, that his heart be not lifted up above his brethren, that he depart not from the commandments on the right hand or on the left, that he and his sons may reign long in his dominion among the children of Israel. The priests, the Levites, even the whole tribe of Levi, shall have no part nor inheritance with Israel. The burnt offerings of the Lord are their inheritance, they shall eat them. And they shall have no inheritance among their brethren, the Lord himself is his portion, as he said to him. And this is the due of the priests in the things coming from the people from those who offer sacrifices, whether it be a calf or a sheep, and thou shalt give the shoulder to the priest, and the cheeks, and the great intestine, and the first fruits of thy corn, and of thy wine, and of thine oil. And thou shalt give to him the first fruits of the fleeces of thy sheep, because the Lord has chosen him out of all thy tribes to stand before the Lord thy God, to minister and bless in his name, himself and his sons among the children of Israel. And if a Levite come from one of the cities of all the children of Israel, where he himself dwells, accordingly as his mind desires, to the place which he shall have chosen, he shall minister to the name of the Lord his God, as all his brethren the Levites, who stand there present before the Lord thy God. He shall eat an allotted portion, besides the sale of his hereditary property. And when thou shalt have entered into the land which the Lord thy God gives thee, thou shalt not learn to do according to the abominations of those nations. There shall not be found in thee one who purges his son or his daughter with fire, one who uses divination, who deals with omens and augury, a sorcerer employing incantation, one who has in him a divining spirit, an observer of signs, or one who questions the dead. For everyone that does these things is an abomination to the Lord thy God, for because of these abominations the Lord will destroy them from before thy face. Thou shalt be perfect before the Lord thy God. For all these nations whose land thou shalt inherit, they will listen to omens and divinations, but the Lord thy God has not permitted thee so to do. The Lord thy God shall raise up to thee a prophet of thy brethren, like me, him shall ye hear, according to all things which thou didst desire of the Lord thy God in Horeb in the day of the assembly, saying, We will not again hear the voice of the Lord our God, and we will not any more see this great fire, and so we shall not die. And the Lord said to me, They have spoken rightly all that they have said to thee. I will raise up to them a prophet of their brethren, like thee. And I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak to them as I shall command him. And whatever man shall not hearken to whatsoever words that prophet shall speak in my name, I will take vengeance on him. But the prophet whosoever shall impiously speak in my name a word, which I have not commanded him to speak, and whosoever shall speak in the name of other gods, that prophet shall die. But if thou shalt say in thine heart, how shall we know the word which the Lord has not spoken? Whatsoever words that prophet shall speak in the name of the Lord, and they shall not come true and not come to pass, this is the thing which the Lord has not spoken. That prophet has spoken wickedly, he shall not spare him. And when the Lord thy God shall have destroyed the nations which God gives thee, even the land, and ye shall inherit them, and dwell in their cities and in their houses, thou shalt separate for thyself 3 cities in the midst of thy land, which the Lord thy God gives thee. Take a survey of thy way, and thou shalt divide the coasts of thy land, which the Lord thy God apportions to thee, into 3 parts, and there shall be there a refuge for every manslayer. And this shall be the ordinance of the manslayer, who shall flee thither and shall live, whosoever shall have smitten his neighbor ignorantly, whereas he hated him not in times past. And whosoever shall enter with his neighbor into the thicket to gather wood, if the hand of him that cuts wood with the axe should be violently shaken, and the axe head falling off from the handle should light on his neighbor and he should die, he shall flee to one of these cities and live, lest the avenger of blood pursue after the slayer, because his heart is hot, and overtake him, if the way be too long, and slay him, though there is to this man no sentence of death, because he hated him not in time past. Therefore I charge thee, saying, thou shalt separate for thyself 3 cities. And if the Lord shall enlarge thy borders, as he sware to thy fathers, and the Lord shall give to thee all the land which he said he would give to thy fathers, if thou shalt hearken to do all these commands, which I charge thee this day, to love the Lord thy God, to walk in all his ways continually, thou shalt add for thyself yet 3 cities to these 3, so innocent blood shall not be spilt in the land which the Lord thy God gives thee to inherit, and there shall not be in thee one guilty of blood. But if there should be in thee a man hating his neighbor, and he should lay wait for him, and rise up against him, and smite him, that he die, and he should flee to one of these cities, then shall the elders of his city send and take him thence, and they shall deliver him into the hands of the avengers of blood, and he shall die. Thine eye shall not spare him, so shalt thou purge innocent blood from Israel, and it shall be well with thee. Thou shalt not move the landmarks of thy neighbor, which thy fathers set in the inheritance in which thou hast obtained a share in the land which the Lord thy God gives thee to inherit. 1. Witness shall not stand to testify against a man for any iniquity, or for any fault, or for any sin, which he may commit, by the mouth of 2 witnesses or by the mouth of 3 witnesses shall every word be established. And if an unjust witness rise up against a man, alleging iniquity against him, then shall the 2 men between whom the controversy is stand before the Lord, and before the priests, and before the judges who may be in those days. And the judges shall make diligent inquiry, and, behold, if an unjust witness has borne unjust testimony and has stood up against his brother, then shall ye do to him as he wickedly devised to do against his brother, and thou shalt remove the evil from yourselves. And the rest shall hear and fear, and do no more according to this evil thing in the midst of you. Thine eye shall not spare him, thou shalt exact life for life, eye for eye, tooth for tooth, hand for hand, foot for foot. And if thou shouldest go forth to war against thine enemies, and shouldest see horse, and rider, and a people more numerous than thyself, thou shalt not be afraid of them, for the Lord thy God is with thee, who brought thee up out of the land of Egypt. And it shall come to pass whenever thou shalt draw nigh to battle, that the priest shall draw nigh, and speak to the people, and shall say to them, Hear, O Israel, ye are going this day to battle against your enemies. Let not your heart faint, fear not, neither be confounded, neither turn aside from their face. For it is the Lord your God who advances with you, to fight with you against your enemies, and to save you. And the scribes shall speak to the people, saying, What man is he that has built a new house and has not dedicated it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the war, and another man dedicate it. And what man is he that has planted a vineyard and not been made merry with it? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man be made merry with it. And what man is he that has betrothed a wife and has not taken her? Let him go and return to his house, lest he die in the battle, and another man take her. And the scribes shall speak further to the people, and say, What man is he that fears and is cowardly in his heart? Let him go and return to his house, lest he make the heart of his brother fail, as his own. And it shall come to pass, when the scribes shall have ceased speaking to the people, that they shall appoint generals of the army to be leaders of the people. And if thou shalt draw nigh to a city to overcome them by war, then call them out peaceably. If then they should answer peaceably to thee, and open to thee, it shall be that all the people found in it shall be tributary and subject to thee. But if they will not hearken to thee, but wage war against thee, thou shalt invest it until the Lord thy God shall deliver it into thy hands, and thou shalt smite every male of it with the edge of the sword, except the women and the stuff, and all the cattle, and whatsoever shall be in the city, and all the plunder, thou shalt take as spoil for thyself, and shalt eat all the plunder of thine enemies whom the Lord thy God gives thee. Thus shalt thou do to all the cities that are very far off from thee, not being of the cities of these nations which the Lord thy God gives thee to inherit their land. Of these ye shall not take anything alive, but ye shall surely curse them, the Chetite, and the Amorite, and the Shannonite, and the Pharisite, and the Avite, and the Jebusite, and the Girgashite, as the Lord thy God commanded thee, that they may not teach you to do all their abominations, which they did to their gods, and so ye should sin before the Lord your God. And if thou shouldest besiege a city many days to prevail against it by war to take it, thou shalt not destroy its trees by applying an iron tool to them, but thou shalt eat of it, and shalt not cut it down. Is the tree that is in the field a man, to enter before thee into the work of the siege? But the tree which thou knowest to be not fruit-bearing, this thou shalt destroy and cut down, and thou shalt construct a mound against the city which makes war against thee, until it be delivered up. And if one be found slain with the sword in the land which the Lord thy God gives thee to inherit, having fallen in the field, and they do not know who has smitten him, thine elders and thy judges shall come forth and shall measure the distances of the cities round about the slain man. And it shall be that the city which is nearest to the slain man, the elders of that city shall take a heifer of the herd which has not labored and which is not borne a yoke. And the elders of that city shall bring down the heifer into a rough valley which has not been tilled and is not sown, and they shall slay the heifer in the valley. And the priests the Levites shall come, because the Lord God has chosen them to stand by him, and to bless in his name, and by their words shall every controversy and every stroke be decided. And all the elders of that city who draw nigh to the slain man shall wash their hands over the head of the heifer which was slain in the valley, and they shall answer and say, Our hands have not shed this blood, and our eyes have not seen it. Be merciful to thy people Israel, whom thou hast redeemed, O Lord, that innocent blood may not be charged on thy people Israel. And the blood shall be atoned for to them. And thou shalt take away innocent blood from among you, if thou shouldest do that which is good and pleasing before the Lord thy God. And if when thou goest out to war against thine enemies, the Lord thy God should deliver them into thine hands, and thou shouldest take their spoil, and shouldest see among the spoil a woman beautiful in countenance, and shouldest desire her and take her to thyself for a wife, and shouldest bring her within thine house, then shalt thou shave her head and pare her nails, and shalt take away her garments of captivity from off her, and she shall abide in thine house and shall bewail her father and mother the days of a month, and afterwards thou shalt go into her and dwell with her, and she shall be thy wife. And it shall be, if thou do not delight in her, thou shalt send her out free, and she shall not by any means be sold for money. Thou shalt not treat her contemptuously, because thou hast humbled her. And if a man have 2 wives, the one loved and the other hated, and both the loved and the hated should have borne him children, and the son of the hated should be firstborn, then it shall be that, whensoever he shall divide by inheritance his goods to his sons, he shall not be able to give the right of the firstborn to the son of the loved one, having overlooked the son of the hated, which is the firstborn. But he shall acknowledge the firstborn of the hated one, to give to him double of all things which shall be found by him, because he is the first of his children, and to him belongs the birthright. And if any man has a disobedient and contentious son, who hearkens not to the voice of his father, and the voice of his mother, and they should correct him, and he should not hearken to them, then shall his father and his mother take hold of him and bring him forth to the elders of his city and to the gate of the place, and they shall say to the men of their city, This our son is disobedient and contentious, he hearkens not to our voice, he is a reveler and a drunkard. And the men of his city shall stone him with stones, and he shall die, and thou shalt remove the evil one from yourselves. And the rest shall hear and fear. And if there be sin in any one, and the judgment of death be upon him, and he be put to death, and ye hang him on a tree, his body shall not remain all night upon the tree, but ye shall by all means bury it in that day, for every one that is hanged on a tree is cursed of God, and ye shall by no means defile the land which the Lord thy God gives thee for an inheritance. When ye see your brother's calf or his sheep wandering, ye shall not overlook them. Ye shall by all means return them to your brother. And if your brother does not come near you, or if you do not know him, ye shall bring it into your house, and it shall be with you until your brother seeks it, and ye shall restore it to him. Ye shall do the same with his donkey, his garment, or anything your brother has lost and you have found. You must not ignore it. Ye shall not see your brother's donkey or his calf fallen on the road and ignore them. Ye shall surely help him lift them up. A woman shall not wear a man's apparel, nor shall a man put on a woman's garment, for whoever does these things is an abomination to the Lord your God. If ye come across a bird's nest in the way, in any tree or on the ground, with young ones or eggs, and the mother sitting on the young or the eggs, ye shall not take the mother with the young. Ye shall let the mother go, but ye may take the young for yourself, that it may go well with you, and that you may live long. When ye build a new house, ye shall make a parapet for your roof, so that ye do not bring blood guilt on your house if someone falls from it. Ye shall not sow your vineyard with 2 kinds of seed, lest the entire yield be forfeited to the sanctuary. Ye shall not plow with an ox and a donkey together. You shall not wear a garment made of wool and linen mixed together. You shall make tassels on the 4 corners of the garment with which ye cover yourself. If a man takes a wife, and after lying with her, dislikes her and accuses her of shameful conduct, saying, I married this woman, but when I approached her, I did not find proof of her virginity. Then the girl's father and mother shall bring proof of her virginity to the elders at the city gate. The father shall say, I gave my daughter to this man as a wife, but he has turned against her and accused her falsely. Here is the evidence of my daughter's virginity. Then they shall display the cloth before the elders. The elders shall take the man and punish him. They shall fine him 100 shekels of silver and give them to the girl's father, because he has falsely accused a virgin of Israel. She shall remain his wife, he may not divorce her all his days. But if the charge is true and there is no proof of the girl's virginity, she shall be brought to the door of her father's house, and the men of the city shall stone her to death, because she committed a disgraceful act in Israel by being promiscuous in her father's house. So you shall purge the evil from among you. If a man is found lying with another man's wife, both the man and the woman must die. So you shall purge the evil from Israel. If a betrothed virgin is found in the city with a man, and he lies with her, bring them both out to the gate and stone them to death, the girl because she did not cry for help, and the man because he violated his neighbor's wife. But if this happens in the open country, only the man shall die. For though the girl cried for help, there was no one to rescue her. If a man finds a virgin who is not betrothed and seizes and lies with her, and they are discovered, he must pay the girl's father 50 shekels of silver. She shall become his wife because he has violated her. He may never divorce her as long as he lives. A man shall not take his father's wife or uncover his father's bed. No one who is emasculated or has mutilated genitals shall enter the assembly of the Lord. No one born of a forbidden union shall enter the assembly of the Lord. Even to the 10th generation none of his descendants shall enter the assembly of the Lord. No Ammonite or Moabite shall enter the assembly of the Lord, even to the 10th generation. They shall not enter the assembly of the Lord forever, because they did not meet you with bread and water on the way when you came out of Egypt, and because they hired Balaam son of Beor to curse you. But the Lord your God would not listen to Balaam. Instead, the Lord your God turned the curse into a blessing, because the Lord your God loves you. Ye shall not seek their peace or prosperity all your days forever. Ye shall not abhor an Edomite, for he is your brother. Ye shall not abhor an Egyptian, because you were a sojourner in his land. Children born to them in the 3rd generation may enter the assembly of the Lord. When you go out against your enemies in camp, ye shall keep yourself from every evil thing. If any man among you becomes unclean because of a nocturnal emission, he must go outside the camp and not return until evening. He shall bathe himself with water, and after sunset he may return to the camp. Ye shall have a place outside the camp where ye may go to relieve yourself. Ye shall have a trowel among your tools, and when ye relieve yourself, dig a hole and cover up your excrement. For the Lord your God walks in the midst of your camp to deliver you, and give your enemies over to you. Therefore your camp must be holy, that he may not see any unclean thing among you and turn away from you. Ye shall not hand over to his master a servant who has escaped from his master and sought refuge with you. He may dwell with you in any place he chooses within your gates. Do not oppress him. There shall be no cult prostitute among the daughters of Israel, and no male cult prostitute among the sons of Israel. Ye shall not bring the wages of a prostitute or the price of a dog into the house of the Lord your God to fulfill any vow, for both are an abomination to the Lord your God. Ye shall not charge interest to your brother, interest on money, food, or anything that may be lent on interest. You may charge interest to a foreigner, but not to your brother, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all that you undertake in the land you are entering to possess. If you make a vow to the Lord your God, ye shall not delay in fulfilling it. The Lord your God will surely require it of you, and you will be guilty of sin. But if you refrain from vowing, you will not be guilty. Whatever your lips utter you must be careful to do, just as you have voluntarily vowed to the Lord your God. If you go into your neighbor's cornfield, you may pluck the ears with your hands, but you shall not put a sickle to your neighbor's corn. If you go into your neighbor's vineyard, you may eat grapes sufficient to satisfy your desire, but you may not put any into a vessel. If a man takes a wife and lives with her, but she does not find favor in his eyes because he has found something unbecoming in her, he shall write her a bill of divorcement, give it to her, and send her away from his house. If she departs and becomes another man's wife, and the latter husband hates her and also writes her a bill of divorcement, gives it to her, and sends her away, or if the latter husband dies, then her former husband who sent her away may not take her again to be his wife after she has been defiled. That is an abomination before the Lord your God, and you shall not defile the land which the Lord your God gives you to inherit. If a man has recently taken a wife, he shall not go out to war or be charged with any business. He shall be free at home 1 year, and shall cheer his wife whom he has taken. Ye shall not take a millstone, either the upper or the lower, as a pledge, for that would be taking a life in pledge. If a man is caught stealing one of his fellow Israelites and sells him, or if he is found in his possession, that thief shall die, so ye shall purge the evil from among you. Take care regarding the plague of leprosy. Be very diligent to do according to all that the Levitical priests shall instruct you. As I have commanded you, so shall you be careful to do. Remember what the Lord your God did to Miriam on the way, after you came out of Egypt. If your neighbor owes you a debt, ye shall not go into his house to collect his pledge. You shall stand outside, and the man who owes the debt shall bring the pledge out to you. If the man is poor, he shall not sleep with his pledge. Ye must certainly return his pledge at sunset, so that he may sleep in his own garment and bless you, and it shall be righteousness to you before the Lord your God. Ye shall not withhold the wages of the poor and needy, whether your brothers or the foreigners living in your land. Ye shall pay him his wages the same day before sunset, for he is poor and counts on it, and he may cry out to the Lord against you, and ye shall be guilty of sin. Fathers shall not be put to death for their children, nor children for their fathers. Everyone shall be put to death for their own sin. Ye shall not pervert the justice due to the stranger or the fatherless, nor take a widow's garment. In pledge, remember that you were a slave in Egypt, and the Lord your God redeemed you. Therefore, I command you to do this. When you reap your harvest in your field and forget a sheaf, ye shall not go back to get it. It shall be for the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow, so that the Lord your God may bless you in all the work of your hands. When ye beat your olive trees, ye shall not go over the boughs. Again, what remains shall be for the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow. When ye gather the grapes of your vineyard, ye shall not clean it afterward. It shall be for the stranger, the orphan, and the widow. Remember that you were a slave in Egypt, therefore I command you to do this. If there is a dispute between men and they come to court, the judges shall judge them and justify the righteous and condemn the wicked. If the guilty one deserves to be beaten, the judge shall cause him to lie down and be beaten in his presence with a number of stripes according to his offense. He may be given up to 40 lashes, but no more, lest your brother be degraded before your eyes. Ye shall not muzzle an ox while it treads out the grain. If brothers dwell together and one of them dies without a son, the wife of the deceased shall not be married to a stranger outside the family. Her husband's brother shall go into her and take her as his wife to perform the duty of a brother-in-law. The first son she bears shall carry the name of the dead brother, so that his name may not be blotted out from Israel. But if the man does not want to marry his brother's wife, she shall go up to the elders at the gate and say, My husband's brother refuses to raise up a name for his brother in Israel. Then the elders shall summon him and speak to him. If he persists in saying, I do not wish to take her, then his brother's wife shall come to him in the presence of the elders, remove his sandal from his foot, spit in his face, and declare, This is what is done to the man who will not build up his brother's house. His family shall be known in Israel as the house of him who had his sandal removed. If two men are fighting and the wife of one comes to rescue her husband from the aggressor and puts out her hand and seizes him by the private parts, ye shall cut off her hand. Your eye shall have no pity. Ye shall not have differing weights in your bag, one heavy and one light. Ye shall not have differing measures in your house, one large and one small. Ye shall have a full and just weight, a full and just measure, so that you may live long in the land which the Lord your God is giving you. For all who do such things, all who act unjustly, are an abomination to the Lord your God. Remember what Amalek did to you on your journey out of Egypt, how he attacked your rear ranks, all the stragglers, when you were tired and weary, and he did not fear God. When the Lord your God gives you rest from all your enemies in the land he is giving you, he shall blot out the name of Amalek from under heaven. Do not forget. And it shall be, when thou shalt have entered into the land which the Lord thy God gives thee to inherit it, and thou shalt have inherited it, and thou shalt have dwelt upon it, that thou shalt take of the first of the fruits of thy land, which the Lord thy God gives thee, and thou shalt put them into a basket, and thou shalt go to the place which the Lord thy God shall choose to have his name called there. And thou shalt come to the priest who shall be in those days, and thou shalt say to him, I testify this day to the Lord my God, that I am come into the land which the Lord sware to our fathers to give to us. And the priest shall take the basket out of thine hands, and shall set it before the altar of the Lord thy God, and he shall answer and say before the Lord thy God, My father abandoned Syria, and went down into Egypt, and sojourned there with a small number, and became there a mighty nation and a great multitude. And the Egyptians afflicted us, and humbled us, and imposed hard tasks on us, and we cried to the Lord our God, and the Lord heard our voice, and saw our humiliation, and our labor, and our affliction. And the Lord brought us out of Egypt himself with his great strength, and his mighty hand, and his high arm, and with great visions, and with signs, and with wonders. And he brought us into this place, and gave us this land, a land flowing with milk and honey. And now, behold, I have brought the first of the fruits of the land, which thou gavest me, O Lord. A land flowing with milk and honey, and thou shalt leave it before the Lord thy God, and thou shalt worship before the Lord thy God, and thou shalt rejoice in all the good things which the Lord thy God has given thee, thou, and thy family, and the Levite, and the stranger that is within thee. And when thou shalt have completed all the tithings of thy fruits in the 3rd year, thou shalt give the 2nd tenth to the Levite, and stranger, and fatherless, and widow, and they shall eat it in thy cities, and be merry. And thou shalt say before the Lord thy God, I have fully collected the holy things out of my house, and I have given them to the Levite, and the stranger, and the orphan, and the widow. According to all commands which thou didst command me, I did not transgress thy command, and I did not forget it. And in my distress I did not eat of them, I have not gathered of them for an unclean purpose, I have not given of them to the dead, I have hearkened to the voice of the Lord our God, I have done as thou hast commanded me. Look down from thy holy house, from heaven, and bless thy people Israel, and the land which thou hast given them, as thou didst swear to our fathers, to give to us a land flowing with milk and honey. On this day the Lord thy God charged thee to keep all the ordinances and judgments, and ye shall observe and do them with all your heart and with all your soul. Thou hast chosen God this day to be thy God, and to walk in all his ways, and to observe his ordinances and judgments, and to hearken to his voice. And the Lord has chosen thee this day that thou shouldest be to him a peculiar people, as he said, to keep his commands, and that thou shouldest be above all nations, as he has made thee renowned, and a boast, and glorious, that thou shouldest be a holy people to the Lord thy God, as he has spoken. And Moses and the elders of Israel commanded, saying, Keep all these commands, all that I command you this day. And it shall come to pass in the day when ye shall cross over Jordan into the land which the Lord thy God gives thee, that thou shalt set up for thyself great stones, and shalt plaster them with plaster. And thou shalt write on these stones all the words of this law, as soon as ye have crossed Jordan, when ye are entered into the land, which the Lord God of thy fathers gives thee, a land flowing with milk and honey, according as the Lord God of thy fathers said to thee. And it shall be as soon as ye are gone over Jordan, he shall set up these stones, which I command thee this day, on Mount Gabel, and thou shalt plaster them with plaster. And thou shalt build there an altar to the Lord thy God, an altar of stones. Thou shalt not lift up iron upon it. Of whole stones shalt thou build an altar to the Lord thy God, and thou shalt offer upon it whole burnt offerings to the Lord thy God. And thou shalt there offer a peace offering, and thou shalt eat and be filled, and rejoice before the Lord thy God. And thou shalt write upon the stones all this law very plainly. And Moses and the priests the Levites spoke to all Israel, saying, Be silent and hear, O Israel, this day thou art become a people to the Lord thy God. And thou shalt hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, and shalt do all his commands, and his ordinances, as many as I command thee this day. And Moses charged the people on that day, saying, These shall stand to bless the people on Mount Gerizim, having gone over Jordan: Simeon, Levi, Judas, Issachar, Joseph, and Benjamin. And these shall stand for cursing on Mount Gabel: Reuben, Gad, and Aser, Zabulon, Dan, and Naphtali. And the Levites shall answer and say to all Israel with a loud voice, Cursed is the man whosoever shall make a graven or molten image, an abomination to the Lord, the work of the hands of craftsmen, and shall put it in a secret place. And all the people shall answer and say, So be it. Cursed is the man that dishonors his father or his mother. And all the people shall say, So be it. Cursed is he that removes his neighbor's landmarks. And all the people shall say, So be it. Cursed is he that makes the blind to wander in the way. And all the people shall say, So be it. Cursed is every one that shall pervert the judgment of the stranger, and orphan, and widow, and all the people shall say, So be it. Cursed is he that lies with his father's wife, because he has uncovered his father's skirt, and all the people shall say, So be it. Cursed is he that lies with any beast, and all the people shall say, So be it. Cursed is he that lies with his sister by his father or his mother, and all the people shall say, So be it. Cursed is he that lies with his daughter-in-law, and all the people shall say, So be it. Cursed is he that lies with his wife's sister, and all the people shall say, So be it. Cursed is he that smites his neighbor secretly, and all the people shall say, So be it. Cursed is he whosoever shall have taken a bribe to slay an innocent man, and all the people shall say, So be it. Cursed is every man that continues not in all the words of this law to do them, and all the people shall say, So be it. And it shall come to pass, if thou wilt indeed hear the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and do all these commands, which I charge thee this day, that the Lord thy God shall set thee on high above all the nations of the earth, and all these blessings shall come upon thee, and shall find thee. If thou wilt indeed hear the voice of the Lord thy God, blessed shalt thou be in the city, and blessed shalt thou be in the field. Blessed shall be the offspring of thy body, and the fruits of thy land, and the herds of thy oxen, and the flocks of thy sheep. Blessed shall be thy barns, and thy stores. Blessed shalt thou be in thy coming in, and blessed shalt thou be in thy going out. The Lord deliver thine enemies that withstand thee utterly broken before thy face. They shall come out against thee one way, and they shall flee 7 ways from before thee. The Lord send upon thee his blessing in thy barns, and on all on which thou shalt put thine hand, in the land which the Lord thy God gives thee. The Lord raise thee up for himself a holy people, as he sware to thy fathers, if thou wilt hear the voice of the Lord thy God, and walk in all his ways. And all the nations of the earth shall see thee, that the name of the Lord is called upon thee, and they shall stand in awe of thee. And the Lord thy God shall multiply thee for good in the offspring of thy body, and in the offspring of thy cattle, and in the fruits of thy land, on thy land which the Lord, swear to thy fathers to give to thee. May the Lord open to thee his good treasure, the heaven, to give rain to thy land in season. May he bless all the works of thy hands, so shalt thou lend to many nations, but thou shalt not borrow. And thou shalt rule over many nations, but they shall not rule over thee. The Lord thy God make be the head, and not the tail, and thou shalt then be above, and thou shalt not be below, if thou wilt hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, in all things that I charge thee this day to observe. Thou shalt not turn aside from any of the commandments, which I charge thee this day, to the right hand or to the left, to go after other gods to serve them. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe all his commandments, as many as I charge thee this day, then all these curses shall come on thee, and overtake thee. Cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. Cursed shall be thy barns, and thy stores. Cursed shall be the offspring of thy body, and the fruits of thy land, the herds of thine oxen, and the flocks of thy sheep. Cursed shalt thou be in thy coming in, and cursed shalt thou be in thy going out. The Lord send upon thee want, and famine, and consumption of all things on which thou shalt put thy hand, until he shall have utterly destroyed thee, and until he shall have consumed thee quickly. Because of thine evil devices, because thou hast forsaken me. The Lord cause the pestilence to cleave to thee, until he shall have consumed thee off the land into which thou goest to inherit it. The Lord smite thee with distress, and fever, and cold, and inflammation, and blighting, and paleness, and they shall pursue thee until they have destroyed thee. And thou shalt have over thine head a sky of brass, and the earth under thee shall be iron. The Lord thy God make the rain of thy land dust, and dust shall come down from heaven, until it shall have destroyed thee, and until it shall have quickly consumed thee. The Lord give thee up for slaughter before thine enemies. Thou shalt go out against them one way, and flee from their face 7 ways, and thou shalt be a dispersion in all the kingdoms of the earth. And your dead men shall be food to the birds of the sky, and to the beasts of the earth, and there shall be none to scare them away. The Lord smite thee with the botch of Egypt in the seat, and with a malignant scab, and itch, so that thou canst not be healed. The Lord smite thee with insanity, and blindness, and astonishment of mind. And thou shalt grope at midday, as a blind man would grope in the darkness, and thou shalt not prosper in thy ways, and then thou shalt be unjustly treated, and plundered continually. And there shall be no helper. Thou shalt take a wife, and another man shall have her. Thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell in it. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and shalt not gather the grapes of it. Thy calf shall be slain before thee, and thou shalt not eat of it. Thine ass shall be violently taken away from thee, and shall not be restored to thee. Thy sheep shall be given to thine enemies, and thou shalt have no helper. Thy sons and thy daughters shall be given to another nation, and thine eyes wasting away shall look for them. Thine hand shall have no strength. A nation which thou knowest not shall eat the produce of thy land, and all thy labors, and thou shalt be injured and crushed always. And thou shalt be distracted, because of the sights of thine eyes which thou shalt see. The Lord smite thee with an evil sore, on the knees and the legs, so that thou shalt not be able to be healed from the sole of thy foot to the crown of thy head. The Lord carry away thee and thy princes, whom thou shalt set over thee, to a nation which neither thou nor thy fathers know, and thou shalt there serve other gods, wood and stone. And thou shalt be there for a wonder, and a parable, and a tale, among all the nations, to which the Lord thy God shall carry thee away. Thou shalt carry forth much seed into the field, and thou shalt bring in little, because the locust shall devour it. Thou shalt plant a vineyard, and dress it, and shalt not drink the wine, neither shalt thou delight thyself with it, because the worm shall devour it. Thou shalt have olive trees in all thy borders, and thou shalt not anoint thee with oil, because thine olive shall utterly cast its fruit. Thou shalt beget sons and daughters, and they shall not be thine, for they shall depart into captivity. All thy trees and the fruits of thy land shall the blight consume. The stranger that is within thee shall get up very high, and thou shalt come down very low. He shall lend to thee, and thou shalt not lend to him. He shall be the head, and thou shalt be the tail. And all these curses shall come upon thee, and shall pursue thee, and shall overtake thee, until he shall have consumed thee, and until he shall have destroyed thee, because thou didst not hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God, to keep his commands and his ordinances which he has commanded thee. And these things shall be signs in thee, and wonders among thy seed forever, because thou didst not serve the Lord thy God with gladness and a good heart, because of the abundance of all things. And thou shalt serve thine enemies, which the Lord will send forth against thee, in hunger, and in thirst, and in nakedness, and in the want of all things, and thou shalt wear upon thy neck a yoke of iron until he shall have destroyed thee. The Lord shall bring upon thee a nation from the extremity of the earth, like the swift flying of an eagle, a nation whose voice thou shalt not understand, a nation bold in countenance, which shall not respect the person of the aged, and shall not pity the young. And it shall eat up the young of thy cattle, and the fruits of thy land, so as not to leave to thee corn, wine, oil, the herds of thine oxen, and the flocks of thy sheep, until it shall have destroyed thee, and have utterly crushed thee in thy cities, until the high and strong walls be destroyed, in which thou trustest, in all thy land. And it shall afflict thee in thy cities, which he has given to thee. And thou shalt eat the fruit of thy body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, all that he has given thee, in thy straitness and thy affliction, with which thine enemies shall afflict thee. He that is tender and very delicate within thee shall look with an evil eye upon his brother, and the wife in his bosom, and the children that are left, which may have been left to him, so as not to give to one of them of the flesh of his children, whom he shall eat, because of his having nothing left him in thy straitness, and in thy affliction, with which thine enemies shall afflict thee in all thy cities. And she that is tender and delicate among you, whose foot has not essayed to go upon the earth, for delicacy and tenderness, shall look with an evil eye on her husband in her bosom, and her son, and her daughter, and her offspring that comes out between her feet, and a child which she shall bear, for she shall eat them because of the want of all things, secretly in thy straitness, and in thy affliction, with which thine enemies shall afflict thee in thy cities. If thou wilt not hearken to do all the words of this law, which have been written in this book, to fear this glorious and wonderful name, the Lord thy God, then the Lord shall magnify thy plagues, and the plagues of thy seed, great and wonderful plagues, and evil and abiding diseases. And he shall bring upon thee all the evil pain of Egypt, of which thou wast afraid, and they shall cleave to thee. And the Lord shall bring upon thee every sickness, and every plague that is not written, and every one that is written in the book of this law, until he shall have destroyed thee. And ye shall be left few in number, whereas ye were as the stars of the sky in multitude, because thou didst not hearken to the voice of the Lord thy God. And it shall come to pass that as the Lord rejoiced over you to do you good, and to multiply you, so the Lord will rejoice over you to destroy you, and ye shall be quickly removed from the land, into which ye go to inherit it. And the Lord thy God shall scatter thee among all nations, from one end of the earth to the other. And thou shalt there serve other gods, wood and stone, which thou hast not known, nor thy fathers. Moreover, among those nations he will not give thee quiet, neither by any means shall the sole of thy foot have rest, and the Lord shall give thee there another and a misgiving heart, and failing eyes, and a wasting soul. And thy life shall be in suspense before thine eyes, and thou shalt be afraid by day and by night. And thou shalt have no assurance of thy life. In the morning thou shalt say, would it were evening. And in the evening thou shalt say, would it were morning. For the fear of thine heart, with which thou shalt fear, and for the sights of thine eyes which thou shalt see. And the Lord shall bring thee back to Egypt in ships, by the way of which I said, thou shalt not see it again, and ye shall be sold there to your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and none shall buy you. These are the words of the covenant, which the Lord commanded Moses to make with the children of Israel in the land of Moab, besides the covenant which he made with them in Horeb. And Moses called all the sons of Israel and said to them, You have seen all the things that the Lord did in the land of Egypt before you, to Pharaoh and his servants and all his land, the great temptations which your eyes have seen, the signs, and those great wonders. Yet the Lord God has not given you a heart to know, and eyes to see, and ears to hear, until this day. And he led you 40 years in the wilderness. Your garments did not grow old, and your sandals were not worn away off your feet. Ye did not eat bread, ye did not drink wine or strong drink, that ye might know that I am the Lord your God. And ye came as far as this place, and Sihon, king of Heshbon, and Og king of Bashan, came out to meet us in war. And we struck them and took their land, and I gave it for an inheritance to Reuben and Gad, and to the half-tribe of Manasseh. Therefore, take heed to do all the words of this covenant, that you may understand all the things you are to do. You all stand today before the Lord your God, the heads of your tribes, your elders, your judges, your officers, every man of Israel, your wives, your children, and the stranger who is in the midst of your camp, from your woodcutter to your water drawer, that you may enter into the covenant of the Lord your God, and into his oaths, as many as the Lord your God appoints you this day, that he may appoint you to himself for a people, and he shall be your God, as he said to you, and as he swore to your fathers, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And I do not make this covenant and this oath with you alone, but with those who are here with us today before the Lord our God, and with those who are not here with us today. For ye know how we lived in the land of Egypt, and how we passed through the midst of the nations through which ye came. And you saw their abominations and their idols, wood and stone, silver and gold, that were among them. Let there not be among you man or woman, or family or tribe, whose heart turns away today from the Lord your God, to go and serve the gods of those nations. Let there not be among you a root that bears gall and bitterness. And it shall be, when someone hears the words of this curse, and blesses himself in his heart, saying, I shall have peace, though I follow the stubbornness of my heart, thus bringing disaster on the watered as well as the dry, the Lord will not be willing to pardon him. Instead, the anger of the Lord and his jealousy will burn against that man, and every curse written in this book will fall upon him. And the Lord will blot out his name from under heaven. The Lord will set him apart for disaster from all the tribes of Israel, according to all the curses of the covenant written in this book of the law. Then the next generation, your children who rise up after you, and the foreigner who comes from a distant land, will see the plagues of the land and the diseases the Lord has sent on it. The whole land will be burning with brimstone and salt, nothing sown, nothing growing, no vegetation rising in it, like the overthrow of Sodom and Gomorrah, Admah and Zeboim, which the Lord overthrew in his wrath and anger. And all the nations will ask, Why has the Lord done this to this land? What is the meaning of this great anger? Then they will answer, because they abandoned the covenant of the Lord, the God of their fathers, which he made with them when he brought them out of the land of Egypt. They went and served other gods whom they did not know and whom he had not given to them. Therefore the anger of the Lord burned against this land, to bring upon it every curse written in this book. The Lord uprooted them from their land in anger, fury, and great wrath, and cast them into another land, as it is this day. The secret things belong to the Lord our God, but the things revealed belong to us and to our children forever, that we may do all the words of this law. And it shall come to pass, when all these things have come upon you, the blessing and the curse, which I have set before you, and you call them to mind among all the nations where the Lord your God has driven you, and you return to the Lord your God and obey his voice according to all that I command you today, you and your children, with all your heart and with all your soul. Then the Lord your God will restore you from captivity and have compassion on you. He will gather you again from all the peoples where the Lord your God has scattered you. Even if you are banished to the ends of the heavens, from there the Lord your God will gather you and bring you back. The Lord your God will bring you into the land your fathers possessed, and you will take possession of it. He will make you more prosperous and numerous than your fathers. The Lord your God will circumcise your hearts and the hearts of your descendants, so that you may love him with all your heart and with all your soul, and live. The Lord your God will put all these curses on your enemies who hate you and persecute you. And you will again obey the voice of the Lord and follow all his commands that I command you today. Then the Lord your God will make you prosper abundantly in all the work of your hands, in the offspring of your body, your livestock, and your land. For the Lord will again rejoice over you for good, just as he rejoiced over your fathers, if you obey the Lord your God and keep his commandments and statutes written in this book of the law, and turn to the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul. This command I give you today is not too difficult for you or beyond your reach. It is not in heaven, so that you need to ask, who will go up to heaven and get it for us so we may hear it and do it? Nor is it beyond the sea, so that you need to ask, who will cross the sea and get it for us so we may hear it and do it? No, the word is very near you, it is in your mouth and in your heart, so you may do it. See, I have set before you today life and good, death and evil. If you obey the commandments of the Lord your God that I command you today, by loving the Lord your God, walking in his ways, and keeping his commandments, statutes, and judgments, then you will live and multiply. And the Lord your God will bless you in the land you are entering to possess. But if your heart turns away and you do not obey, if you are drawn away to bow down to other gods and worship them, I declare to you today that you will surely perish. You will not prolong your days in the land you are crossing the Jordan to possess. I call heaven and earth as witnesses against you today. I have set before you life and death, blessing and curse. Therefore choose life, so that you and your descendants may live, by loving the Lord your God, obeying his voice, and holding fast to him. For he is your life and the length of your days, so that you may dwell in the land the Lord swore to give to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And Moses finished speaking all these words to all the children of Israel and said to them, I am this day 120 years old. I shall not be able any longer to come in or go out, and the Lord said to me, Ye shall not go over this Jordan. The Lord your God who goes before you, he shall destroy these nations before you, and ye shall inherit them. And it shall be Joshua who goes before your face, as the Lord has spoken. The Lord your God shall do to them as he did to Sihon and Og, the two kings of the Amorites, who were beyond the Jordan, and to their land, as he destroyed them. The Lord has delivered them to you, and ye shall do to them as I have commanded you. Be courageous and strong. Fear not, neither be cowardly nor afraid before them, for it is the Lord your God that goes with you. He will not forsake you nor desert you. And Moses called Joshua and said to him before all Israel, Be courageous and strong, for you shall go in before this people into the land which the Lord swore to their fathers to give them, and ye shall give it to them for an inheritance. The Lord who goes with you, he shall not forsake you nor abandon you. Do not fear, and do not be afraid. And Moses wrote the words of this law in a book and gave it to the priests, the sons of Levi, who bear the ark of the covenant of the Lord, and to the elders of the children of Israel. Moses commanded them, saying, at the end of every 7 years, in the year of release, during the Feast of Tabernacles, when all Israel comes together to appear before the Lord your God in the place he chooses, ye shall read this law before all Israel in their hearing. Assemble the people, men, women, children, and the foreigner in your cities, that they may hear and learn to fear the Lord your God, and be careful to do all the words of this law. And their children, who have not known it, shall hear and learn to fear the Lord your God as long as you live in the land you are crossing the Jordan to possess. Then the Lord said to Moses, behold, the days of your death are at hand. Call Joshua and present yourselves in the tabernacle of testimony, and I will give him a charge. So Moses and Joshua went and stood in the tabernacle of testimony. And the Lord appeared in the tabernacle in a pillar of cloud, and the pillars stood over the entrance. The Lord said to Moses, behold, you will rest with your fathers, and this people will rise and prostitute themselves with the foreign gods of the land into which they are going. They will forsake me and break my covenant that I made with them. My anger will burn against them on that day, and I will forsake them and hide my face from them, and they shall be devoured. Many evils and troubles will come upon them, and they will say in that day, is it not because our God is not among us that these evils have come upon us? I will surely hide my face in that day, because of all the evil they have done, turning to other gods. Now write this song for yourselves and teach it to the children of Israel. Put it in their mouths so that this psalm may be a witness for me against the children of Israel. For I will bring them into the land flowing with milk and honey, which I swore to their fathers, and they shall eat and be full and satisfied. Then they will turn to other gods and serve them, and they will provoke me and break my covenant. And when many evils and troubles have come upon them, this psalm will testify against them as a witness, for it will not be forgotten from the mouths of their descendants. For I know what they are inclined to do, even today, before I have brought them into the land I promised them. So Moses wrote this song that same day and taught it to the children of Israel. Then he charged Joshua son of Nun and said, be strong and courageous, for you shall bring the children of Israel into the land that the Lord swore to them, and he shall be with you. When Moses finished writing the words of this law in a book, to the very end, he commanded the Levites who carried the ark of the covenant of the Lord, take this book of the law and put it beside the ark of the covenant of the Lord your God, that it may be a witness against you. For I know your rebellion and your stiff neck. Even now, while I am still alive among you, you have been rebellious against the Lord. How much more after my death? Gather to me all the elders of your tribes and your officers, so that I may speak these words in their hearing and call heaven and earth to witness against them. For I know that after my death, you will surely become utterly corrupt and turn aside from the way I have commanded you. In the days to come, disaster will fall upon you because you will do evil in the sight of the Lord, provoking him to anger by the work of your hands. Then Moses spoke the words of this song in the hearing of the whole assembly of Israel, to the very end. Attend, O heaven, and I will speak, and let the earth hear the words out of my mouth. Let my speech be looked for as the rain, and my words come down as dew, as the shower upon the burbage, and as snow upon the grass. For I have called on the name of the Lord, assign ye greatness to our God. As for God, his works are true, and all his ways are judgment. God is faithful, and there is no unrighteousness in him. Just and holy is the Lord. They have sinned, not pleasing him, spotted children, a froward and perverse generation. Do ye thus recompense the Lord? Is the people thus foolish and unwise? Did not he himself thy father purchase thee, and make thee, and form thee? Remember the days of old, consider the years for past ages, ask thy father, and he shall relate to thee, thine elders, and they shall tell thee. When the Most High divided the nations, when he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the nations according to the number of the angels of God. And his people Jacob became the portion of the Lord, Israel was the line of his inheritance. He maintained him in the wilderness, in burning thirst and a dry land, he led him about and instructed him, and kept him as the apple of an eye. As an eagle would watch over his brood, and yearns over his young, receives them having spread his wings, and takes them up on his back, the Lord alone led them, there was no strange God with them. He brought them up on the strength of the land, he fed them with the fruits of the fields, they sucked honey out of the rock, and oil out of the solid rock, butter of cows, and milk of sheep, with the fat of lambs and rams, of calves and kids, with fat of kidneys of wheat, and he drank wine, the blood of the grape. So Jacob ate and was filled, and the beloved one kicked, he grew fat, he became thick and broad, then he forsook the God that made him, and departed from God, his Savior. They provoked me to anger with strange gods, with their abominations they bitterly angered me. They sacrificed to devils, and not to God, to gods whom they knew not, new and fresh gods came in, whom their fathers knew not. Thou hast forsaken God that begot thee, and forgotten God who feeds thee. And the Lord saw, and was jealous, and was provoked by the anger of his sons and daughters, and said, I will turn away my face from them, and will show what shall happen to them in the last days, for it is a perverse generation, sons in whom is no faith. They have provoked me to jealousy with that which is not God, they have exasperated me with their idols, and I will provoke them to jealousy with them that are no nation, I will anger them with a nation void of understanding. For a fire has been kindled out of my wrath, it shall burn to hell below, it shall devour the land, and the fruits of it, it shall set on fire the foundations of the mountains. I will gather evils upon them, and will fight with my weapons against them. They shall be consumed with hunger and the devouring of birds, and there shall be irremediable destruction. I will send forth against them the teeth of wild beasts, with the rage of serpents creeping on the ground. Without, the sword shall bereave them of children, and terror shall issue out of the secret chambers. The young man shall perish with the virgin, the suckling with him who has grown old. I said, I will scatter them, and I will cause their memorial to cease from among men. Were it not for the wrath of the enemy, lest they should live long, lest their enemies should combine against them, lest they should say, our own high arm, and not the Lord, has done all these things. It is a nation that has lost counsel, neither is there understanding in them. They had not sense to understand, let them reserve these things against the time to come. How should one pursue 1,000, and two rout tens of thousands, if God had not sold them, and the Lord delivered them up? For their gods are not as our God, but our enemies are void of understanding. For their vine is of the vine of Sodom, and their vine branch of Gomorrah, their grape is a grape of gall, their cluster is one of bitterness. Their wine is the rage of serpents, and the incurable rage of asps. Lo, are not these things stored up by me, and sealed among my treasures? In the day of vengeance I will recompense, whensoever their foot shall be tripped up, for the day of their destruction is near to them, and the judgments at hand are close upon you. For the Lord shall judge his people, and shall be comforted over his servants, for he saw that they were utterly weakened, and failed in the hostile invasion, and were become feeble, and the Lord said, where are their gods on whom they trusted? The fat of whose sacrifices ye ate, and ye drank the wine of their drink offerings. Let them arise and help you, and be your protectors. Behold that I am he, and there is no God beside me. I kill, and I will make to live, I will smite, and I will heal, and there is none who shall deliver out of my hands. For I will lift up my hand to heaven, and swear by my right hand, and I will say, I live forever. For I will sharpen my sword like lightning, and my hand shall take hold of judgment, and I will render judgment to my enemies, and will recompense them that hate me. I will make my weapons drunk with blood, and my sword shall devour flesh, it shall glut itself with the blood of the wounded, and from the captivity of the heads of their enemies that rule over them. Rejoice, ye heavens, with him, and let all the angels of God worship him. Rejoice, ye Gentiles, with his people, and let all the sons of God strengthen themselves in him, for he will avenge the blood of his sons, and he will render vengeance, and recompense justice to his enemies, and will reward them that hate him, and the Lord shall purge the land of his people. And Moses wrote this song in that day, and taught it to the children of Israel, and Moses went in and spoke all the words of this law in the ears of the people, he and Joshua the son of Nun. And Moses finished speaking to all Israel. And he said to them, Take heed with your heart to all these words, which I testify to you this day, which ye shall command your sons, to observe and do all the words of this law. For this is no vain word to you, for it is your life, and because of this word ye shall live long upon the land, into which ye go over Jordan to inherit it. And the Lord spoke to Moses in this day, saying, Go up to the Mount Abarim, this mountain Nabal, which is in the land of Moab over against Jericho, and behold the land of Shinar, which I give to the sons of Israel, and die in the mount whither thou goest up, and be added to thy people, as Aaron thy brother died in Mount Hor, and was added to his people. Because ye disobeyed my word among the children of Israel, at the waters of strife of Cades in the wilderness of Sin, because ye sanctified me not among the sons of Israel. Thou shalt see the land before thee, but thou shalt not enter into it. And this is the blessing with which Moses the man of God blessed the children of Israel before his death. And he said, The Lord is come from Sinai, and has appeared from Seir to us, and has hasted out of the mount of Pharan, with the 10,000s of Cades, on his right hand were his angels with him. And he spared his people, and all his sanctified ones are under thy hands, and they are under thee, and he received of his words the law which Moses charged us, an inheritance to the assemblies of Jacob. And he shall be prince with the beloved one, when the princes of the people are gathered together with the tribes of Israel. Let Reuben live, and not die, and let him be many in number. And this is the blessing of Judah. Hear, Lord, the voice of Judah, and do thou visit his people. His hands shall contend for him, and thou shalt be a help from his enemies. And to Levi he said, Give to Levi his manifestations, and his truth to the holy man, whom they tempted in a temptation, they reviled him at the water of strife. Who says to his father and mother, I have not seen thee, and he knew not his brethren, and he refused to know his sons. He kept thine oracles, and observed thy covenant. They shall declare thine ordinances to Jacob, and thy law to Israel. They shall place incense in the time of thy wrath continually upon thine altar. Bless, Lord, his strength, and accept the works of his hands. Break the loins of his enemies that have risen up against him, and let not them that hate him rise up. And to Benjamin he said, The beloved of the Lord shall dwell in confidence, and God overshadows him always, and he rested between his shoulders. And to Joseph he said, His land is of the blessing of the Lord, of the seasons of sky and dew, and of the deeps of wells below, and of the fruits of the changes of the sun in season, and of the produce of the months, from the top of the ancient mountains, and from the top of the everlasting hills, and of the fullness of the land in season, and let the things pleasing to him that dwelt in the bush come on the head of Joseph, and on the crown of him who was glorified above his brethren. His beauty is as the firstling of his bull, his horns are the horns of a unicorn, with them he shall thrust the nations at once, even from the end of the earth. These are the 10,000s of Ephraim, and these are the thousands of Manasseh. And to Zabulon he said, Rejoice, Zabulon, in thy going out, and Issachar in his tents. They shall utterly destroy the nations, and ye shall call men there, and there offer the sacrifice of righteousness, for the wealth of the sea shall suckle thee, and so shall the marts of them that dwell by the sea coast. And to Gad he said, Blessed be he that enlarges Gad, as a lion he rested, having broken the arm and the ruler. And he saw his firstfruits, that there the land of the princes gathered with the chiefs of the people was divided. The Lord wrought righteousness, and his judgment with Israel. And to Dan he said, Dan is a lion's whelp, and shall leap out of Bazan. And to Nephtali he said, Nephtali has the fullness of good things, and let him be filled with blessing from the Lord. He shall inherit the west and the south. And to Azer he said, Azer is blessed with children, and he shall be acceptable to his brethren. He shall dip his foot in oil. His sandal shall be iron and brass. As thy days, so shall be thy strength. There is not any such as the God of the beloved. He who rides upon the heaven is thy helper, and the magnificent one of the firmament. And the rule of God shall protect thee, and that under the strength of the everlasting arms. And he shall cast forth the enemy from before thy face, saying, Perish. And Israel shall dwell in confidence alone on the land of Jacob, with corn and wine, and the sky shall be misty with dew upon thee. Blessed art thou, O Israel, who is like to thee, O people saved by the Lord. Thy helper shall hold his shield over thee, and his sword is thy boast. And thine enemies shall speak falsely to thee, and thou shalt tread upon their neck. And Moses went up from Arabboth Moab to the mount of Nebo, to the top of Phasca, which is before Jericho, and the Lord showed him all the mount of Galaad to Dan, and all the land of Nephtali, and all the land of Ephraim and Manasseh, and all the land of Judah to the farthest sea, and the wilderness, and the country round about Jericho, the city of palm trees, to Seir. And the Lord said to Moses, This is the land of which I swore to Abraham, and Isaac, and Jacob, saying, To your seed will I give it, and I have showed it to thine eyes, but thou shalt not go in thither. So Moses the servant of the Lord died in the land of Moab by the word of the Lord. And they buried him in Gai near the house of Phagor, and no one has seen his sepulchre to this day. And Moses was 120 years old at his death. His eyes were not dimmed, nor were his natural powers destroyed. And the children of Israel wept for Moses in Arabboth of Moab at Jordan near Jericho 30 days. And the days of the sad mourning for Moses were completed. And Joshua the son of Naui was filled with the spirit of knowledge, for Moses had laid his hands upon him, and the children of Israel hearkened to him, and they did as the Lord commanded Moses. And there rose up no more a prophet in Israel like Moses, whom the Lord knew face to face, in all the signs and wonders, which the Lord sent him to work in Egypt on Pharaoh and his servants, and all his land, the great wonders, and the mighty hand which Moses displayed before all Israel.